Championship in March, where we kind of knew we were headed for something drastic and sports was about to shut down, whatever that was, March 11th, 12th, somewhere in that frame. And I kind of feel like we're there again. Remember, if we take you back, the players were there, were out there. The tournament was about ready to get going, had started actually with round one. But the night prior, the NBA had a positive test, and they stopped and paused, and you know, the dominoes started to fall from there. And here we are months and months later. But it feels like that a little bit. What shoe will drop on college football? That's a big storyline today. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Monday. Hope you're doing well. It is hot, hot, hot. It's August in Florida. You got to expect it. It's going to be a hot week around here. Drink water, folks. Put the sunscreen on because feel like temperatures 106, 107 by the middle of the week. Yeah, that's pretty hot. So make sure you stay healthy in that respect as well. PGA Championship, it was a lot of fun to watch a big-time sporting event and see some of the drama unfold. I know not everybody's a golf fan, but it kind of felt real and normal because it had so much on the line yesterday in sports, and there was a lot of talent, and there were some big-time shots being made by Colin Morikawa. We'll talk a little bit about it. I have this strange comparison, and this is going to sound wacky and weird, but I'm going to compare some of the stars of golf to quarterbacks in the NFL. You just have to hang around and find out how. Because I know Austin Lane right now is I have no idea.
This was my homework for today. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you couldn't get ready for this one.
Heck no.
So we will talk a little bit about that. Maybe a word or two on Tiger Woods. I don't think it was as lost a weekend as a lot of other people thought it was. And we got home runs bouncing off people's gloves and over the fence. We got guys that can't catch and Yelich running around the bases. Is there anything more tiring for a baseball guy than an inside-the-park home run, by the way? Baseball is wacky. We got a little brawl. I'm sure we'll see some suspensions out of that one. The Astros are in the middle of everything, and they didn't even get hit. They were the one beating everybody else this weekend against the Oakland A's. The A's are on fire right now. And, of course, the Jaguars. Leonard Fournette set to talk this afternoon in about an hour or so. We'll see what he has to say about the upcoming season. Doug Marrone talked this morning. Jags are thin, really thin on the defensive line right now, and that's something to keep your eye on because of some of the moves they've made and some of the injuries and lists that guys are on, but and opt-outs, quite frankly. So they are thin on a position where they put a lot of work in, it seemed like, in the offseason to try to get a little bit more depth and fix against the run defense. So all that here on a Monday. How's your weekend, man?
It was good, man. Real solid. I watched a little golf, watched some UFC fights. Actually turned out to be a really nice weekend. Thought it was going to rain the whole weekend, so went to the beach a little bit, went to the pool. So overall, real solid weekend. And then, obviously, I woke up today wondering, are we going to have college football this year? And that's kind of where my head's at right now. And obviously, when we have such a big question like that, it's not so much, are we going to have college football? It's, whose fault is this right now? Because that's what we do in the sports media.
Yes, whose fault? Whose fault? What side are you on? How did sports media people cancel the college football season potentially?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to love social media, man. You got to love this time where you either pick a side or don't. Being in the middle and listening to everybody just doesn't make any sense. Why do it? Why listen to everybody? Oh, yeah, that guy can be right and that side can be right a little bit. Oh, somehow we can meet in the middle. Imagine that you could somehow meet in the middle. That would be something. How about the college football stuff? How much did it take you off guard? The MAC canceling, it was like, okay, the MAC canceled. You know, UConn, they did their thing. There's going to be a lot of conferences that say, no, we're not going to give it a go.
Ivy League canceled.
Yeah, the group of five. We don't know what. We've talked about spring football. Then all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute, the MAC canceled, and now you're going to tell me from the MAC went the Big Ten?
Mm-hmm. So, listen, once again, it is my job in sports radio to point out whose fault this is because that's what I do. I blame people. I just can't say, well, it's kind of a collection of things. No, I mean, someone's got to take the blame here. Someone's got to take the L. So let's go ahead and break this down real quick. Ivy League drops out. Okay. MAC drops out. you could say from those two conferences dropping out, well, maybe money was a factor, the testing was a factor. How much are those football programs really bringing in for the universities? Not even close to the same amount as an SEC school, a Big Ten school, a Big 12 school. So with that being said, okay, I can see that. Last week, the Big Ten announces the schedule. And I sat here and celebrated. Wisconsin's got a pretty easy road to the Big Ten championship. Really, that only hard game is going to be Michigan. Cool. Sounds great. Can't wait. A couple days later now, it's Monday, August 10th, 2020. We start hearing now that the Big Ten is going to back out. And obviously the Pac-12 is with them in doing so. Now, they haven't made anything official yet, but I think it's pretty much clear.
It's reported.
It's reported, right? And a lot of people are reporting this. Nothing's completely clear, but I think we can all assume right now that this is the plan going forward. So then what transpired after that? Well, now you have schools like Nebraska saying, well, then we'll go play someplace else. And we have Ryan Day from Ohio State saying, this isn't done yet. We're fighting for our players here. And when the Big Ten announced supposedly they're going to back out here and cancel the season, what happened? You saw you saw an avalanche of tweets of college football players standing together. First it was Stand United, and now it's I Want to Play. And you even had the head honcho and Trevor Lawrence, the captain, if you will, probably the biggest name this year in the college football class. He even came out and said something. So much that Donald Trump even retweeted it today and commented on it, right? Like Trevor Lawrence is that dude right now. So you have Trevor Lawrence come out and say, and now we're all on the same page. College football players want to play. And we're like, well, let them play. And it's back and forth right now. And of course, in doing so, it becomes political. But it begs the question, what happened with the Big Ten from the moment you released the schedule up until now, a few days later, where all of a sudden it's like, you know what, we're going to cancel the season? I don't have an answer for that. All I can assume right now is that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are worried about the worst case scenario. And in my eyes, the worst case scenario would be a player or a coach coming down with COVID-19 and dying. That would be their liability. That would be their responsibility. And imagine if that happened, heaven forbid, knock on wood, do whatever you want to do. The optics would be the worst thing you could ever imagine for college football. And now I understand, yes, players have died in the past due to training-related issues, heart-related issues, things like that. But I'm just saying, if you had the chance to stop it with COVID-19, not have a season, and a player died, well, then you have an issue. But here's what I can't wrap my head around here with the Big Ten. The Big Ten right now is trying to be like the NBA, and they're trying to be at the forefront, saying, "Check us out." We're leading the way. Everyone talks about the SEC all the time in college football. Look what we're doing right now. So you made a precedent to go ahead and do this and try to lead the way. But in doing so, you broke the one golden rule that I've said since COVID-19 first hit. Whether it was with the NFL or the college athletics, I said one thing. You have to have communication, and you have to make sure everyone's on the same page. You didn't let the athletes know. You had a bunch of presidents in the ivory tower say, you know what? I think right now this is way too dangerous. I don't want any blood on my hands, so let's go ahead and cancel the season. And you didn't even confide in the coaches or in the athletes and get their opinion about it. And when you didn't do that and you announced that there's not going to be a Big Ten season or a Pac-12 season, what did the athletes do? They rebelled and said, no. We still want to play. You didn't talk to us about this. You're going to pull the rug underneath our feet right now? So in my opinion right now, this falls on the presidents. This falls on the deans. Who's ever running the universities right now, who probably never played a game of football in their life, are trying to run the show right now with all their money and say, you know what? Yeah, football brings in a lot of money, but we don't want this on our hands. But the issue that I have with it is that you did not ask the players. You didn't confide in the players. You made it your own rule. You made it your own thing to try to get ahead of everything. And now you have the rebellion from the coaches and the players, and you have teams trying to lead the conference, and it's a giant mess right now because you didn't communicate.
Yeah, it's a giant mess, and where does it land is really interesting. There are so many tentacles to this one topic. Austin just talked a lot about them. By the way, breaking news for the Florida Gators get a big safety commit in Corey Collier, 4-star guy. So they're secondary. They've been recruiting really well this week. Had a good week, and also that secondary is still looking good for the Florida Gators moving forward. He's out of Miami, by the way, so you get out of Miami. Usually a good sign. A 4-star guy for the Florida Gators just made that announcement short time ago. There are so many prongs to this. as you're talking, I'm thinking, okay, I'll say this, I'll say this, I'll say this. There's too much going on in my own mind. How much should the players have a say in any of this? How much should the college coaches have a say in all of this? Because in the last hour, and led by Jim Harbaugh, by the way, and now Scott Frost in Nebraska just held a press conference basically saying we're going to play football one way or another as we want to play. But last week we talked Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh at odds. Well, now they're linked together. Ryan Day comes out right after Harbaugh comes out. Soon enough, it will be Saban and Dabo and the rest of college football. So some of the athletic directors at Alabama, Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, the football people are coming out saying, we support you, we want to play. The presidents are basically saying, we're not sure if it's the right thing. Now, there needs to be a voice of reason somewhere along the way. The voice of reason isn't necessarily the coaches that make $7 or $8 million or the players that are 20 years old and want to play football because that's what they do and they don't want to sit around and they put a lot of work in. I mean, you got to remember that. I mean, the presidents or other folks are there to be the voice of reason and take the information and utilize it in the right way. To your point, much like so much that has gone on with the NCAA, it just seems disjointed. There's no unity at all in college football and really in college sports, partly because of the NCAA, partly because of I think the egocentric nature of the conferences. We are the SEC. We're the Big Ten. We're going to do it first. We're going to be the leader of this, or, we're going to still play. Whatever. Nobody can get on the same page. And it seems like that even within the own universities, because how did the athletic directors in the conferences all come out last week and say, hey, here's the schedules. We figured this out. Notre Dame's joining the ACC. They're going to be a part of it. They're going to split money. Here's what the schedule looks like. The SEC adds 2 more in-conference games for all of their teams last week, and days later, like hours later, the presidents are like, whoa, nope. Northern Illinois didn't want to play. The MAC's not playing, and we kind of believe what they believe. How in 2-3 days do we see such a difference? Instead of unity, it's disjointed communication. That is fascinating to me, and it makes me question the leadership. Makes me question whatever decisions are made, whatever you agree with. I think it's a fascinating part of it. I think there could be, this crossed my mind, this is going to sound dramatic. Trevor Lawrence right now to me is the star of this. And by the way, I say that, and I said this last night on social media, I don't say that because I think, hey, he's absolutely right. They should play, and they should just ignore everything else, and this is the best course of action. I did not say that. I think it's tremendous leadership on his part to spark change for a kid that really has nothing to gain by playing, has nothing to gain by doing any of this. I mean, it is unbelievable leadership by Trevor Lawrence. And I thought about it in the last hour or so. We could talk about Trevor Lawrence someday as maybe the biggest factor in college sports, or at least college football, in the history of the game. He could change the game. It would be him that spearheaded. Yeah, sure, Justin Fields and others too, but I think it was the Trevor Lawrence voice, the guy that is the surefire number 1 guy. Has nothing, he could sit out until April. That at least gets the conversation rolling. And by the way, I applaud the players for using their platform. That's what I was trying to do last night on social media, if you were following along. I did not say I agree with every single thing. There's a lot of information out there that we would still have to know, I think, to figure that out. I'm kind of in the middle guy. I'm in the minority. I'm in the middle guy where I like to listen to both sides, and some things make sense, from the scientists to the players to everything in between. I just applaud the fact that the players are using this as a platform to what they want to do, what they think they are doing is right, and also to kind of change the setup of the NCAA in college football. There's so much to talk about. We'll get into it more, plus an update on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are they'll be on the practice field this week. We'll be out there as well as we inch closer to an NFL season. That does not look in peril yet. They look like they are moving on. No major snafus yet in the NFL to speak of, at least that we know of. But who thought on August 10th we would be talking about the college football season maybe not even happening days after the college football schedules were essentially released. Not all the schedules are. The SEC schedule still hasn't been released, but a lot of information has been decided upon leading up to the latest news the last few days. Let's begin there. College football. We'll get into some of it. We won't talk all of it for the first hour and a half of the show, but we'll pop back in on the college football front because I think there's so many different angles to get to here today. And quite frankly, it's the biggest news story we've had in 6 months.
Yeah.
And it impacts a lot.
Yep.
It impacts a lot, including the NFL. Mm-hmm. It impacts the NFL calendar.
Yep.
What about the spring? Why is the spring such a bad idea? I'm not against it. We'll talk about it.
I am.
It's coming up on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Tracking partly to mostly sunny skies with scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms with high temperatures this afternoon topping out into the low to mid-90s, but it will feel around 100 to 105 degrees. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Alyssa Pedjick.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing. You ready for some good news? No, make that great news. You know that new Toyota you've been wanting? It's as good as yours thanks to the huge savings going on now at Arlington Toyota. Every new Toyota Arlington's got is on sale. In fact, you can get 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. That's 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. Want to drive away in a new Toyota with no payments? Right now at Arlington, you can. Get no payments for 90 days on your new Toyota purchase. Every single day at Arlington, you're going to have over 750 new and quality pre-owned to choose from on the lot, ready for you to drive home today. And with every new vehicle purchase from Arlington, you get a nationwide lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. But wait, there's more. It's time to get your new Toyota and save big at Arlington. Wait no more. Now's the time to get your new Toyota and save big at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/August savings for full details. Florida children are eligible for head-to-toe coverage through the Florida Kid Care Program, which is high-quality, affordable health and dental coverage with cost as low as $15 a month. To assist families applying for Florida Kid Care or Medicaid and increase enrollment in the Florida Kid Care Program, the Players Center for Child Health with Wolfson Children's Hospital offers free application assistance. For appointments, call 904-202-WELL. That's 904-202-9355. Habla Español.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference, like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, does your car still only play CDs? No Bluetooth? No CarPlay? You got an old car, my friend. You know what's better than an old car? A less old car. Get a car or truck that's new to you with a great used car loan from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Get pre-approved for a loan and shop at any dealership in town. Get a low rate and get rid of that old car today. Apply online at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and school just isn't for you, earn while you learn by enrolling in the Clara White Mission Workforce Training, designed for 16 to 24-year-olds and no experience necessary. National certifications include culinary arts, OSHA, HAZWOPER, forklifting, environmental training, and more. These programs are customized for low income and disadvantaged. Make your way to the Clara White Mission Training Center at 613 West Ashley Street. Call 904-354-4162 or visit clarawhitemission.org.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233. Time for more summer savings.
No other jeweler in North Florida can beat Beard's Diamonds. They have the largest selection and the lowest prices. And now with their 5-year zero-interest financing, you can go even bigger.
Yes, save on everything. Rings, earrings, bracelets, pendants, wedding bands, all designer jewelry, all colored gemstone pieces, and all diamonds. 5 years, zero interest, and no money down.
It's a great time to splurge on that $12,000 three-stone ring and pay just $200 a month.
Impress her with a bigger diamond engagement ring, a $6,000 setting from just $100 a month.
Or how about $3,000 diamond stud earrings, only $50 a month?
Get the absolute lowest prices Beards is known for. Then spread your payments out over 60 months with absolutely no interest and nothing down.
Beards Diamonds, located at the St. John's Town Center.
Come in. See the difference. Save thousands.
Do you know a child who is deaf, hard of hearing, blind, or visually impaired? The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine offers a tuition-free educational program to prepare the child for a lifetime of success. FSDB offers free comprehensive education, transportation, and boarding services at no cost to all eligible deaf or blind students, elementary through high school, no matter where the student lives in Florida. Call 800-344-3737 or log on to www.fsdbk12.org to learn more.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference, like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Come to the grand opening of Q Delicia, the best Mexican-American sports bar in town. Enjoy ice cold beer, $10 sangria pitchers, along with the best quesadillas and fajitas in town while watching the game. If you can't go, at least you can watch. But don't be surprised if you hear, "Goal!" You can watch football, NFL, NBA, MLB, boxing, UFC, and more on multiple HD TVs. Visit Q Delicia for the grand opening on 3980 Southside Boulevard today. Q Delicia, the Mexican-American sports bar you never knew you needed. Call 904-253-3477.
With COVID-19, more local families than ever need food. Our seniors require extra support, and kids stuck at home could use something to smile about. A gift in any amount will make a big difference, especially when you give through Jewish Family and Community Services. Thanks to the Max Block Food Pantry Matching Challenge, your donation will automatically double. Jewish Family and Community Services. Here for hunger, here for Jacks. Learn more at hereforjacks.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jacks and ESPN 690. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jacks on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and on your smart speaker.
I mean, there'd be a small group of players that would be unaffected college football-wise, that these guys are going to be top 5 locks or top 10 locks no matter what. And then there's going to be a great amount of players who a lot of the NFL organizations don't know a ton about, and they might be guys that we saw them as fringe draft guys that, all right, are they draftable players now? Or we saw them as maybe a third or fourth round pick. Do we like them still there? Are they really a fifth round pick? Or maybe we like them more because we didn't get to see more of their flaws. And so it would totally radically change the way that the NFL approached their offseason.
Well, absolutely. Dan Orlovsky from ESPN. I mean, there is radical change potentially going on in college football for the NCAA, for the Power Five, for all these institutions and programs around the country. Quite honestly, quite frankly, I think the NFL, that part doesn't matter right now. It's part of it. Don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of dominoes that have to fall, and I wouldn't put the NFL and the draft and scouting players near the top of the list. If I'm a college football guy, if I'm a president, if I'm an AD or a coach, there's a lot more to figure out before you get to, okay, well, what about the NFL calendar? Like, how do we get these guys into the NFL? Yeah, that's part of it. It's part of it, no doubt. And that speaks a little bit to the spring stuff, which we'll get into a little later on. But I think it does feed to the NFL calendar, possibly into the NFL season for some, possibly into opt-outs for many that would consider a pro career. I just don't think it's on the forefront. I understand the conversation. We'll get into that part, but I don't think it's on the forefront. We're going to talk a little college football more because it's a huge story. It's a massive story that we continue to follow, and we have to keep a close eye because it's going to continue to move all afternoon long into the evening, I believe, and many believe. Before we get to that, though, listen, we talk a ton of Jags. We want to keep you up to date on the Jags stuff. This is a big information piece going on right now. Tom Pelissero reporting that Yannick Ngakoue and his agent have parted ways. Now, I got to tell you, I've heard this. I heard this weeks ago, maybe I can't remember the time frame. So let's just say it's even within the last 6 weeks that I heard. I think I might have mentioned to you that they had parted ways. And then I checked on some fronts and that wasn't true. So I think there was some talk about parting ways and then they were still together trying to hammer out a deal, try to hammer out a trade, try to hammer out an exit from Jacksonville. And well, now Tom Pelissero says that is the case. We're going to confirm it a little bit more, but obviously Pelissero well respected. And what he says is, and you know this probably better, but once you terminate a relationship with an agent, you have to wait like 5 days before you can get another agent. I guess I didn't even realize that, but so that's what Jan will do. I guess the big story here is: does this change anything? What does this mean for Yannick Ngakoue? Because it could mean a bunch of things. And what it could mean relative to the Jacksonville Jaguars could also mean a bunch of things. What does it say to you?
Yeah, well, listen, maybe one day we're going to know just how much influence and how much say, Yannick Ngakoue's former agent had overall of how this whole situation played out. And what I mean by that is obviously, sitting out of the spring a little bit and then reporting to training camp, how much of it was going after Tony Khan, how much of it was not signing that franchise tag right off the bat. We don't really know who was kind of, calling the shots here. Was it Yannick Ngakoue? Wasn't his agent. Regardless of that, though, the fact of the matter remains. Yannick Ngakoue, since week 15, week 16 of last NFL season, wanted to get out of Jacksonville. That's been his number one priority, his number one goal. And unfortunately, hasn't transpired that way for him, okay? Now, a lot of things played out after that. I get that, but long story short, Yannick Ngakoue still in Jacksonville. So he didn't get what he wanted. If you don't get what you want, sometimes you got to change the in-house stuff. His agent, obviously, is responsible at the end of the day. Now, there's only so much an agent can do. Don't get me wrong. But the agent's responsibility is if your client's not happy and he wants to be traded, you try to get him traded, number one. Or if you want a big deal, you get your client a big deal. He didn't have an opportunity to get the big deal when it happened. Okay. Didn't have an opportunity to get traded. Okay. So Yannick Ngakoue thought it was best to, I guess, cut those ties.
Jan's agent is Ari Nissim, who's been in the game, used to work in the front office of the Jets and has had many players. Most recently even had Leonard Fournette as well, and then he changed agents. Listen, if you don't get the deals done, you're probably going to, sooner or later, players get unhappy or you didn't get what you want, so you didn't do kind of your job essentially, even though there's a lot of work put in. I've had numerous discussions with Ari over this last year, really, about the situation in Jacksonville with Yannick Ngakoue, and there's no doubt he was trying like heck to get Jan what he wanted, whether it was via trade, whether it was a big contract, or whether it was out of Jacksonville, no doubt. So it just didn't materialize. Now, we've debated this topic very often, and I think what we got to eventually, if you go back to the Tony Khan and Jan situation on social media, I remember saying then, it does not matter what you viewed it as or what you tried. The bottom line is, and this isn't a personal attack on anybody, this is just the way it is because now I can see it in hindsight. What you tried to do didn't work. Mm-hmm. And I think it's been crystal clear what the Jan camp tried to do. How much influence was his agent, Ari Nissim? How much influence was Jan trying to push those buttons? We don't know. But what they tried to do for the last year did not work. And it's led us to this situation where now a very talented football player is in a spot where he's vocally said he doesn't want to play in the city, play for the team, wants out, can't find a way out, and is sitting on $17.8 million and stuck between should I sign it or stick with the principal nature of things and sit out. And so he's in a really tough spot right here. Whether the Jags are in equally a tough spot, it's debatable because the value has seemingly gone down in trade compensation. They would have to, even if he plays in Jacksonville, play with an unhappy player, most likely. And then they lose a lot of leverage once the trade deadline comes around, in my opinion, on the Jan front. So those are just the facts out there. I mean, there's no opinion in that. That's just kind of the way it's played out. And so what's really curious here is, do we find out who was pushing more of the buttons, who was trying to make more of the moves based on what Jan does next? Okay, he goes and hires a new agent. That's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Well, new agent automatically, I mean, this isn't Jerry Maguire here now. I mean, not going to sit there and say, oh, we found the trade deal. All of a sudden, teams want to give you a first-round pick and a second-round pick, and they just didn't want to give it to that. Well, that's not how it works. I mean, nothing's going to change in that regard. The Jags are still stuck in the sand on this thing. But does it repair any communications that had just gone sour over the last year? And by the way, that I told you ever since last September, that had gone sour. Talks had stopped on numerous occasions. There wasn't even communication going on by both sides on this front. So does it repair a little bit of that? Or could you see a situation where Jan's basically like, you know what? Listen, we tried all these things. It didn't work. I feel like I should go play at 17. I should at least get that. And I'm going to come do it. And we have a disagreement on that. Maybe the agent says, hey, I think you should stick firm on this. You said you're not going to play, don't play. Mm-hmm. And just hold out, you know. And Jan's basically like, no. I want to go in. Is that the disagreement? Where does where did the road get crossed up between him and his agent relationship wise? We just don't know.
No, we don't know at all. But I will say this, though. Any agent that he gets now, I have a hard time believing that the agent's going to say, you know what, let's just sit out this year because I don't like making money if you're the agent, right? Because keep in mind, every single dollar that Yannick Ngakoue makes, the agent will make a percentage of that. So you better believe whoever Yannick Ngakoue goes with, that agent more than likely, I think, if he's a good agent, is going to be pushing for that franchise tag. Now, in the long run, is that going to hurt Yannick Ngakoue and his overall, appeal if he chooses to kind of go against his word a little bit and sign that franchise tag to other teams? I don't think so. But once again, it comes down to the question of pride, and it comes down to the question of what Yannick Ngakoue believes in. And you know where I stand on that. We don't have to get back into that again. So I think regardless of who he signs with, I think regardless of no matter what that agent says, I think Yannick Ngakoue has kind of entrenched himself in the philosophy that, listen, man, until I get what I want, I'm not going to get on that field, and I don't care about the money right now. With that being said, though, let's say, for instance, that he goes with like a Drew Rosenhaus. Okay, Drew Rosenhaus obviously is the guy that you want when you're signing that second contract. And a lot of my friends and, former teammates, obviously, actually went with Drew Rosenhaus for their second contracts. I know a couple guys, and I know how Drew Rosenhaus operates. And regardless of what I think of him as a person, I know this about Drew Rosenhaus. He's done a lot of deals, and he knows the ins and outs of the NFL. He knows every situation, and he has a plan for that. So if you have Drew Rosenhaus come to you, if you're Yannick Ngakoue, and Drew Rosenhaus says, listen, man, this is not my first rodeo here. I have this many clients. I've done this many deals. And I'm telling you right now, the market for you, it's not where we want it to be. Not your fault, not my fault, just the way it is. So you're better off signing right now. Like that conversation, regardless if it's Drew Rosenhaus or another experienced agent, that dialogue is probably going to happen. What it falls on now is if Yannick Ngakoue trusts that dialogue and he believes in his new agent who he just hired and is going to pay now, it all comes down to if he believes him or not.
Yeah, it's really well said, and I think that's an important part of it. It's a great thought about the discussion. Keep in mind, Rosenhaus, from that standpoint, who feels like he's actually lost his luster a little bit as kind of the top agent in the game, and I mean, he's not who he used to be in terms of that guy, but he did just do the Antonio Brown deals to Oakland and to the Patriots before they parted ways.
See, here's the thing, though, with Drew Rosenhaus. I think he's still one of the top guys. Obviously, it's just the fact that the guys that he has under him, not like, that like his players, they're not so much outspoken as they used to be. Because he used to have a lot of outspoken players that, Drew got me paid.
Yeah, well, and keep in mind, we're just throwing out a name right there.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't say he's going to go with Drew Rosenhaus.
No, I'm just saying there's tons of agents out there with a lot of experience.
People know that agent name. Here's the thing for me, man. Here's the way I'm thinking of it. And you might be right. Say maybe Jan is still, hey, he was driving this thing. He's stuck in it. Could easily be that way. I feel like whenever he's not going to come out, I don't think there's an announcement, but I think we'll learn eventually who his new agent is in the next week or so. And once that happens, whenever the next bit of dialogue is out there with Jan, he's got two choices. He can firmly entrench himself in that sand and in the stance that he's been in, along with his representation over the last year, or this is his one opportunity to be like, listen, I wasn't getting the greatest advice. I didn't always agree with the advice, but I was following along with it. And whether it's true or not, that's where you can kind of blame the agent a little bit and say, all right, listen, I think the right thing to do is come in here and sign this, and we'll see what happens from here. I still want out all those things, but it kind of gives Jan a little bit of an out from some of the things that he said. He gets like one opportunity. That's the way I look at it. He can either say, hey, me and this new guy or gal, we're still stuck in the same trenches.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, we didn't see eye to eye on this. I think this is the right way to go. I'm going to go play football, and I think it's the best thing to do right now for me and for my future. I'm going to go bust my butt, kind of like what he said last year, and turn this into a big deal. Those are his two ways to look at it. That'll be very interesting how he plays this in the early stages of this new relationship with an agent. And a lot of that could stem from what you just said.
Yeah.
The agent coming in and saying, hey, listen, I'm watching this thing from afar, and you have to do this. Like, I have to tell you to sign. Not for me to make my money, because it's the right thing to do. You have to sign.
Yeah.
You can't pass up $17.8 million, young man.
Listen, and we don't know how the dialogue with his now old agent went. Okay, we have no idea. But once again, I'm just assuming right now that the dialogue had to be sign that franchise tag. Go ahead and get your money, and then let me take care of it from there, right? Because once again, like, there's this big misconception when you're in the NFL, right, where you get an agent, and let's be honest, and like NFL players, they have egos, and they want to hear yes, 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 yes.
Oh, yeah.
You hire yes men, okay? That's who you surround yourself with. That's the whole point, okay? But at the same time, keep in mind, if you're an NFL player, you want a businessman first and a friend second when it comes to an agent. Okay, there's only so much friendship that you can get by with in having an agent. The agent's job is to try and make as much money for you as possible. Number one, it's not to, I'm going to have your back through this. I mean, yeah, that's important too, so-and-so. But guess what? The agent's primary job is to try to get you as much money as possible. Okay, so once again, I don't know how that went down with his old agent, Ari. All I know is that I'm sure Ari wanted to get paid like any agent wants to get paid. If you're an agent right now, you're in the NFL, and you're trying to be a friend over a businessman, you're not going to last that long, okay? I'm telling you right now. I'm not a business major. I'm just saying I've talked to a lot of agents, a lot of players. I know how it works. So when we fast forward now, Brent, and we talk about the new agent coming in, whether, whoever it may be, him or her, I'm just saying the conversation's going to be the same. Get your money right now, and let me take care of it later. Doesn't matter who you hire. That's agency 101. Get your money.
Doug says probably makes it worse that he's changing agent. Chance says changing agents doesn't mean he wants to stay, but I also think the chances of him playing increase depending on who he hires. BC says any legit agent will tell Jan that his only remaining option is sign the tag, be a model citizen and teammate, and have a career year. Too late for anything else if Jan wants to continue his NFL career and get paid. Well, that's all drastic. Strokey says that's what I'm thinking, makes his stock drop and still won't play for the Jags. Let's see, anything else? He's probably blaming him for not being moved yet. And lastly, Holly Winters, I wonder if he's seeing the declining salary for his position due to COVID-19 is rethinking whether he wants to hold out for more than the franchise tag salary. I don't necessarily agree with that. The last two guys that just signed mega deals are Garrett and Bosa, and they were record-breaking deals. So the dollars are still there at the pass rushing position. We'll talk more about the Yannick Ngakoue situation, more about the Jags, and the latest on college football, and how Trevor Lawrence is not only the face on the field, but also the face off it. It's coming up next on ESPN 690. Hey everyone, this is Brett Martineau from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hope you catch the show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 10 different platforms. But if you missed the show, you missed this. That was Aaron Gordon from the Orlando Magic. Was he driving a Zamboni during that?
I believe they were Zamboning the courts.
I was like, Coach just said Zamboning the courts.
Is that what Zamboni?
That's the verb of Zamboniing.
Sure about that?
Subscribe to the podcast and check the show out on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Get the podcast daily. All you have to do is search ESPN 690 in your podcast app.
After a long day, having my dogs greet me at the door with their silly smiles and wagging tails makes me happy. I want to keep that joy with me for years to come. That's why I trust Forever Vets Animal Hospital to keep my pets healthy. Forever Vets was voted 2019's best vet in Jacksonville Magazine's Readers Poll, and it's easy to see why. The affordable wellness plans are tailored to meet all of your pet's changing needs as they grow. Open 7 days a week, Forever Vets friendly staff is available to treat you and your pet with care. They combine extended hours with online booking to allow you to give your pet quality care while accommodating your schedule. Go online to forevervets.com to find which of their 9 locations is nearest you. And don't forget their newest location in Bartram Market. Forever Vets Animal Hospital, keeping your pets happy and healthy forever.
You've worked hard all your life. Retirement worries shouldn't get in the way, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. But many Americans are finding that retiring on a fixed income is hard. BenefitsCheckup.org is a free website from the National Council on Aging. With just a few clicks, you can see if you qualify for thousands of dollars to pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. BenefitsCheckup.org. You've earned this. This message is supported by the Administration for Community Living.
Mortgage rates are at historic all-time lows. There's no better time. Duval! Purchase your first home or refinance with Crossview Mortgage. At Crossview, they have a proven track record with VA loans and helping people even when the big banks can't. Get pre-qualified. Do your application by phone in minutes. Let them help you save thousands. Call Crossview Mortgage, 325-9008. That's 325-9008. CrossviewMortgage.com. NMLS number 1377291.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
Injuries on the job can cause you to lose control. I'm Glenn Levine from the law offices of Anajar & Levine. Money is not coming in and your medical bills are piling up. Our legal team is here to help. We can help you file all your workers' compensation claims to make sure you get the proper benefits you're entitled to. If you've been injured on the job, call the law offices of Anajar & Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
The economic difficulties caused by the current pandemic is affecting the survival of local small businesses. Many have had to close or greatly reduce operations. How well prepared are you to gear back up once conditions begin to improve? Will there be enough working capital to do so? Take advantage of this time to participate in a SCORE webinar or meet virtually with a counselor to get some ideas on developing a business recovery strategy. Register for a webinar or schedule a confidential mentoring session at jacksonville.score.org.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home or just steering clear of coworkers, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jacks on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home to play ESPN 690.
It's me, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, the king of bada bing. This is Action Sports Jacks. Bang!
Really getting down to 80 was a huge transition, more so operationally from, a standpoint of moving people around. I think that, the equipment room, the trainers, the weight room, the nutritionist, from where we're eating. There's a lot of moving parts to this thing to make sure that everyone stays safe. And, we're at a point now where really it's the first time where we've been together at 80. So we kind of went more towards the interactive meetings now, where we're practicing the physical distance.
Well, they're trying to explain what's going on. That's Doug Marrone earlier today. And, I still don't understand. I never really got a clear answer on this. From 80 to 90 players, why so much was different. It's not like it was 60 to 90 players.
Yeah.
It was 80 to 90 players, and there were like a different set of rules. To me, that was wild that existed. We'll talk a little bit more about the Jags and the NFL, of course. Jags have some depth problems now all of a sudden on that offensive line. But let's start here because there's so many dang questions. Let's just start with and not bury the lead, man. Will we have a college football season? I did a poll question yesterday, and as this is all floating around, I think it ended up being like 62% or 4% say no. About 400 votes or something on it. So, I mean, it is what it is, but it was interesting to hear that. I still believe we're going to have a football season to some degree in college. I do. I don't know. I shouldn't say given up on that, because if we don't, but it's not like I've got pom-poms over here making sure it happens. I just think it's going to happen. I think now, I don't know if the Big Ten and Pac-12 are going to be involved. I don't know what it looks like. I just think we're going to have college football games. I can't tell you what it's going to look like, but I think we're going to have college football games in the fall. What do you think?
Well, first of all, it's so crazy right now that you have the Big Ten and the Pac-12 supposedly shutting down. And then you have the SEC, the Big 12, and the ACC still going and probably planning going forward. Like, to me, is there any bigger of a model of the microcosm right now that's happening in the United States of America than having two conferences saying you shouldn't play, and then having three conferences, and more specifically, three conferences in the South that are saying, well, we should play? Like, welcome to America 2020 right now, man. Like, this is literally, we talk about, the mirror all the time. Sports holds up the mirror. Well, this is the mirror right now of our society, and this is where we at. What do I think is going to happen? I'll be honest with you. Do I think that the Big Ten's serious, and do I think the Pac-12 is serious? You better believe it. And I don't think they're going to have a season this year because, once again, they haven't officially announced it yet, but all this stuff coming out, the Big Ten coaches trying to go other places right now and play, like, that news is coming.
Yeah.
And the last thing the Big Ten's going to do, and once again, regardless of how you feel about the decision, but the last thing the Big Ten's going to do now is like, whoa, wait. I was expecting this kind of just this out blast or whatever. I was expecting this kind of just, hate on social media. I was expecting all the players to rally around the whole situation and saying, let us play. We weren't expecting that. Guys, we're still going to play. Like, sorry. No, that's not how it works, man. I think the Big Ten has made their decision as long as the Pac-12 has as well. So they're out. All right, so we'll see you later. Sorry. Okay. So the other three conferences. Brent, I'm going to be honest, man. It's hard for me to foresee the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 to play this season because if this truly goes down and you have 3 conferences in and 2 out, well, number one, you talk about a competitive advantage now for recruiting. Like this is going to change the landscape of college football forever if this goes through like it's supposed to. So I just think with that being said, where I can't imagine in a world and I can't fathom a college football season with 3 conferences playing, through the Big 5 playing and 2 sitting out, I just can't foresee that happening. I don't think there's going to be a college football season.
Wow, that's interesting. To your point, by the way, let's go back to the Big Ten real quick. Scott Frost in Nebraska just had a press conference, basically like, we are playing football somewhere. Is essentially what they said. Ryan Day, Ohio State head coach, Jim Harbaugh, who led this really from a coaching standpoint, said, we are playing. We think we can play. Don't listen to them. We're going to keep it alive. We're fighting to play. They are going against their college presidents right now, at least according to the reports, because it's the presidents that are looking to shut this down. So that's the Big Ten. The Pac-12, the latest news out of the Pac-12 is I guess all the big wigs are going to get together tomorrow and talk about it and discuss. I don't know if there are any votes going on, but at least a discussion according to some of the reports. Big Ten already had some discussions today. Again, I think they're going to play in some way, shape, or form. I think if they do play, it could change the landscape forever of college football because it could mean a yanking away of the NCAA. It could be this unique kind of battle on campuses within administration. From president side to athletic side. And by the way, if you're the presidents now, don't turn your nose up at all those dollars. The athletic department's got some leverage here in the SEC, in the Big 12, in the ACC. That's big-time money coming into your university. So don't lose sleep. I know it's like, those are the presidents versus college. No. Long have I said the most powerful person on a college campus in the Power 5 is that head football coach. Nick Saban is way more powerful, in my opinion, than that president at Alabama, with all due respect. In Tuscaloosa. And we're going to find out a little bit in the Big Ten, are we? Ryan Day, who might not carry as much weight as, say, if an Urban Meyer had come out and was still at Ohio State, but Jim Harbaugh, how much weight does he carry at Michigan? Where is that power structure? Because if Harbaugh comes out, the players have come out, and they end up playing in the Big Ten, sure looks like the edge went to the head football coaches on the university. The power structure starts with them, not with the college presidents.
Well, and I guess I should preface this saying this. I think there will be a college football season if the Big Ten somehow plays again and the Pac-12 plays. If all the conferences agree, then I think there will be a season. If there's discrepancies, if there's conferences sitting out, then I don't think there's going to be a season. Because keep in mind, let's say right now that the Big Ten's out. See you later. Okay. And Scott Frost obviously is doing his hardest to try to play. And Ryan Day is trying his hardest, and so is Harbaugh. That's great. You don't mean to tell me that the players at Iowa and Wisconsin and Michigan State are going to try to transfer out? Why wouldn't you? Why would you want to stay behind while your peers of other teams in the conference are playing college football and you're stuck watching from the sidelines? Why would anybody sign up for that? So, that's my point as well. You want to talk about a competitive advantage right now. If some of these schools in the Big Ten choose to forego football for this fall, you're going to have a bunch of players trying to jump in that protocol. Now, jump in the portal. Now, whether the NCAA, says, no, you can't do that, that remains to be seen. But for all the excuses that players can have to jump in, the whole pool here and go to a new school and transfer, well, man, the portal is going to be wide as that. It's going to be as big as ever now. So, that's another problem you have to think of. To me, once again, I don't know what the communication aspect was of this whole thing, Brent, but I just feel there's so many questions right now. There's so many things I don't think they've even thought about going forward.
Yeah, and I want to keep asking the questions. My next one here, is this really about the coronavirus, the pandemic of what's going on, or is it about a little bit more of that? Is it about player empowerment, a player movement? Some people call it a union possible forming. They even put it in that the players did as they were tweeting out a college football players association of sorts.
Yeah.
What's the bigger story or fear from presidents? The pandemic or the movement?
See, to me, it's the pandemic, hands down.
Really?
Because I get the movement's coming. But guess what? If you're a president right now, there is no sense in trying to taper this whole movement off, because regardless, the power of social media, the power of self-awareness right now in college football and student athletes, the movement's going to happen whether you try to shun it out or not. It's going to happen eventually. So to me, it's more about COVID-19 right now and try not to be liable if a player, once again, heaven forbid, dies.
I do think it's part of it. But I think maybe the last chance against a movement, whether it's likeness or unionization, is to say, we're going to take football away from you then.
Well, but keep in mind what the movement has done. The movement said, we're not going to sign that waiver. We're not going to sign a waiver for COVID-19. You guys are responsible for us. So, like, the movement is definitely detrimental to presidents everywhere. But I just think no matter what you do, it's coming. So you can't stop it.
Yeah, it's coming in the next year, it looks like, across, well, here in the state of Florida and probably across many other states. We're not done asking questions. I have a list of them from college football. It's coming up on ESPN 690.
Men, are the effects of hypertension, diabetes, or prostate cancer preventing you from having a satisfying love life? In just one visit, the doctors at Prime Men's Medical Center can help you overcome ED or PE to regain your confidence and have you last longer in the bedroom. Name brand pills don't work for many men and can have serious side effects. The highly skilled physicians at Prime Men's Medical Center provide custom blended medications that are safe, effective, and work immediately, regardless of your medical history or age. You'll see results on your first visit, guaranteed, or your consultation is free. So, if you have problems in the bedroom, call now for a private consultation. One call, one visit, one simple solution to regain your love life. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
Come to the grand opening of Q Delicia, the best Mexican-American sports bar in town. Enjoy ice-cold beer, $10 sangria pitchers, along with the best quesadillas and fajitas in town while watching the game. If you can't go, at least you can watch. But don't be surprised if you hear, goal! You can watch football, NFL, NBA, MLB, boxing, UFC, and more on multiple HD TVs. Visit Q Delicia for the grand opening on 3980 Southside Boulevard today. Q Delicia, the Mexican-American sports bar you never knew you needed. Call 904-253-3477.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, ESPN's reporting the Pac-12 CEO group will meet tomorrow, is expected to discuss and vote on how to proceed with the 2020 football season. Growing sense around the conference is that it's highly unlikely the Pac-12 moves forward with a fall season amid the pandemic. The Power 5 conferences are discussing plans to cancel or postpone fall sports. The final call on college football will be driven by one thing, notes ESPN's Heather Dinich.
The presidents are the ones who are sitting around the room with the ultimate say and the final authority, but they're making those decisions based on concerns that are increasing right now over the unknowns about the lasting cardiac impact of the coronavirus.
Baseball Mets pitcher Marcus Stroman opting out of the season. He hasn't pitched yet because of a torn calf. Rays ace Charlie Morton on the injured list due to a shoulder issue. NBA, Bucks power forward Giannis Antetokounmpo out tonight versus the Raptors after tooth surgery. 6:30 Eastern on ESPN TV. Milwaukee has already wrapped up the 1 seed in the East.
Straight Talk Wireless has the full court cell phone coverage you need. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G for up to 50% less than the big carriers. Only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Max Kellerman.
Irresponsible leaders in this country have put us into a position where we're sort of in a post-truth world.
You've heard him on First Take, and now you get even more Max.
And there is such thing as the truth.
The intensity.
And if these other sports want a shot, I suggest they get much more sober in their view, imitate what the NBA is doing.
The Max Kellerman Show, August 17th at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
If this is truly about safety, if this is truly about taking care of the players, then we're not going to play, because the presidents, the ADs, everyone has to say, what's the one way that we can pretty much guarantee that we won't have a mass outbreak on a football team, or we won't have these long-term effects right now. It's to not have anybody play football. But the fact that that we're still sitting here going back and forth, the fact that the heart condition came out and everybody was like, whoa, what's going on here? It's from a liability standpoint. No university, no AD, no president wants to be liable for a long-term effect when it comes to these kids, and I get it. I understand the season is on life support, but if you're really going to do the right thing by these kids, if you're really going to do what's right, then I think they're either going to postpone it or cancel football.
Yeah, some of the new knowledge about the cardiac impacts of coronavirus are scaring folks off according to reports.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Cedric Williams from the Houston Texans, defensive lineman, had some heart issues now since testing positive in July. And then Eduardo Rodriguez from the pitcher from the Boston Red Sox.
They shut him down, yeah.
He had COVID-19. He tested negative, comes back, and all of a sudden it was revealed that he had inflammation of his heart muscle, I think it was. And obviously they shut him down because of that. I mean, he feels fine, but his heart obviously isn't 100%. So, yeah, I get it right now where we're in a situation where we don't know everything quite yet about what results from COVID-19. What are some of the side effects? What are some of the aftershocks, if you will? And obviously heart issues could be one of them.
Let me just ask you this in a quite simplistic way. If college football made $500,000 max for each program, that was the high water mark, not 60, 70 million. Would it be canceled, and would there even be any blowback about it being canceled?
I'm sorry,
would college football be canceled now? If 500, say the max amount of dollars earned was $500,000.
Oh yeah, would
we have already canceled the football season? And would there be this much debate about canceling the football season?
Obviously, money is the motive here, right? So
that's certainly the motive of my questioning.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, I don't think there would be this much longevity to waiting to see if you're going to play or not. I think if only $500,000 was on stake, then yeah, you'd say, "Oh, sorry guys, no season this year." Right, because no one's making a case right now, and with all due respect, but no one's making a case for, what about wrestling? What about women's lacrosse? What about volleyball? Like no one's talking about that, Brent. You know why? Because they're not making a lot of money. Simple as that.
But my rebuttal to that would be people are still debating about high school football and whether it should happen or not. And there's not a $500,000. Yeah, sure, there might be $20,000 on a Friday night in some places, but we're not talking massive amounts of money. We're talking important to the budget and stuff, but we're not talking about massive amounts of money. Yet we're still debating it, and we have different viewpoints in high school football. So would it be different in college?
No, but that's different. Man, that's a whole different genre. I mean, you're talking about high school athletics compared to college athletics, right? Like, I mean, if you want to subset it, talk about college athletics, who's talking about volleyball right now? Who's talking about tennis right now? I haven't seen one volleyball thing. I haven't seen one tennis thing. Now, in high school, obviously, it's more football and things like that, but that's different to me, at least.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
we know money's at the heart of this.
Correct.
All right? I mean, that's the point. We know money's at the heart. If you took the money away, would we still have debate? I kind of think we would. I think we would. Now, we might have more a conclusive decision, and people would be less fearful of making a decision because people are certain they were just kicking the can down the road right now. We have been for months and months. And even they're doing that in high school football here in the state of Florida, in high school sports in the state of Florida. So money is definitely a motivator. All right, but I've got this myriad of questions about what's going on.
Yeah.
And one of my questions, and I thought about this today. First of all, last night on social media, after our TV show, Action Sports Jack's Primetime on Fox 30 and CBS 47, I was thinking about this more on the way home, and then later, I mean, shoot, it must, maybe that's what happened. We saw Trevor Lawrence's tweets and more of them. And I was just thinking, man, the We Want to Play movement is a cool movement. I love the fact that players can speak their mind, share their opinion, unite in a voice, and have the platform to at least have a say. Because nobody is asking them. Nobody's going to ask them how they feel. I mean, reporters might, but I'm talking about administrators. And now, whether the part I had a buddy on social media actually used to play ball with him, and he said, "Well, it's like listening to your kids tell us what we should do. Sometimes you got a parent." It was kind of his messaging, and I said, "That's fine, but the kids want to play not because of motivation of money or anything else. The kids want to play because they want to play." And they bring up some good points in their little bubble, even though it's not truly a bubble. Are they safer than staying at home for the next 3, 4, 5 months, studying, working out on their own, going out, doing other things? Those are some of the points that Trevor Lawrence brought up. And does he have a point in some of those? Here's what Lawrence said. People are just as much, if not more risk if we don't play. Players will all be sent home to their own communities where social distancing, highly unlikely, medical care and expenses will be placed on the families if they were to contract COVID. Not to mention the players coming from situations that are not good for them, their future, and having to go back to that. Football is a safe haven for so many people. We are more likely to get the virus in everyday life than playing football. Having a season also incentivizes players being safe and taking all the right precautions to try to avoid contracting COVID because the season teammate safety is on the line. Without the season, as we've seen already, people will not social distance or wear masks and take the proper precautions. Now, I don't necessarily believe we can wholeheartedly say people in general won't do it. I think there are some that won't do it. But his point, again, I like the idea that Lawrence used his voice. Justin Fields and many others jumped in. Since then, today, Joe Burrow has. I'm not saying I agree with everything Trevor Lawrence says. He's right. We should listen to Trevor Lawrence. He should run for president, and we should elect him. I'm just saying they have a chance to use a platform and a voice, and he's got a strong one. And if the guy that has more to lose than arguably any college athlete in the country as the locked-in number 1 pick in next year's April draft, and what comes with that, a ton of money, and a ton of everything else. He, of all folks, could easily say, yeah, you know what, I'll see you in April. And he's not doing that. Instead, he has taken a leadership position. He's saying, hey, if nobody else is going to talk for the players, I'll talk for the players. And then we'll unify everybody to talk for the players.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. Not just him, people are talking. A lot of players are talking. I understand Trevor Lawrence has the most Twitter followers and things like that, so he gets the most shine. But players are everywhere right now talking. It's just the fact that Trevor Lawrence obviously is going to get drafted number 1 next year, so he gets all this shine. Good for him, and I'm glad he's using his platform. But to me, it's not complicated what's going on here. Like, I thought Trevor Lawrence put it very eloquently, the fact that you have a better chance of getting sick if you're back home in the community. You know what? He's probably not wrong there. He's probably correct. But what Trevor Lawrence is missing, and what a lot of people are missing here, is the biggest fundamental cog going forward of why this may not be working. It's the fact that the NCAA, team presidents of each college, or whoever you want to talk to who's in charge and I'll run the show, does not want to get their hands dirty if a kid dies.
Yep.
Okay? Because as morbid as this sounds, I'm a black and white kind of person here. I'm just trying to tell it like it is. If a kid dies in the streets back home in the community because of COVID-19, the NCAA is going to mourn for that kid, but guess what? They're not taking responsibility. They don't have to.
They'll wear a ribbon.
Because it didn't happen on their watch, let's just say. for whatever reason, and once again, I'm not trying to wish this on anybody. I want that to be at the forefront of this conversation here. It would be horrible if this happened. But heaven forbid a kid gets terminally ill or dies because of COVID-19 while he's playing football. Well, then that falls directly on the NCAA. That falls on the university, and it falls on the conference and all that stuff. They want to wash their hands of that. To me, that's what college football bigwigs are afraid of right now. And that's why they're not going forward. Some conferences aren't going forward with playing football this season. I get what Trevor Lawrence is trying to say, man, and it was very eloquent. It was great. But, dude, you got to understand what's going on here. They don't want to get their hands dirty.
Well, and by the way, they shouldn't, in a lot of regards, want to deal with that, because that's not just a today issue. That could be a 25-year down the line issue. Talk about some of this heart stuff going on. Again, that's just information that's out there. We don't know. You don't know how this is going to pan out. You can sit there and say, well, look, I'll tell you this. Look at all the folks that have tested positive in big league baseball. We haven't seen one that get like super sick or ill or knocked out for the season. And that, well, Eduardo Rodriguez, I don't know if it's coincidence. There's not enough science yet to know, with what's going on with him. Yeah. But if you take even, who was it? Was it Freddie Freeman that had dealt with it and said he had like 103 or 104 fever? Well, he's back playing and hitting home runs. All those Marlins guys that tested positive, they're back playing and doing fine. St. Louis Cardinals, same thing. So that's what a lot of people are looking at, yet they don't want to think like a president would have to think, or a coach would have to think, or anybody in a leadership position would have to think, because they, quite frankly, don't have to deal with that stuff.
Sure.
So, you got to separate the two, and that's why I do, and I've been saying this since the start of March, man, anybody in a leadership position, you can take how you vote and how you view and all this other stuff out of it. If you're in a leadership position, in any position in this country today, whether it's sports, business, education, politics, it's a tough deal. I mean, it's not one I envy. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's on your watch.
There's no way I could ever be that kind of position. I would never sign up for that, regardless of how much money you make. I would never want to be in that position.
But nobody really wants to be in the position, but we all want to tell that position what to do based on what we want. And there's a part of that is like, we want to see college football on Saturdays. We cover sports. We want sports. Well, so tell them to don't play.
Well, no, listen. And listen. I get what I'm doing right now. I'm sitting right here and I'm commentating, but I don't have any solutions. So who am I to talk right now? Well, then let me go ahead and give you a solution real quick, okay? Obviously, for this college football season to work, there needs to be some common ground. There has to be a common ground between the presidents of the university and the deans and whoever else, the bigwigs of college football, and there has to be common ground between the players. You have to meet halfway. That's the only way, especially for the Big Ten right now, where this is going to work. So I say, whether it's CTE, whether it's something like that, where the players accept the risks. Like as soon as I got to college, Brent, and I set my helmet on for the first time, went to my first practice, I knew what was up. I knew, like, listen, man, I could get hurt today. I mean, it's prevalent, okay? Like, I understand that you can get a concussion, you can break a bone, you can break a back, whatever. Like, you can break things. I understand that. I understand every single time I put my helmet on, my shoulder pads on, I accept the risks at hand, okay? Now, I didn't sign a waiver or anything, but I accept the risks. So with that being said, and when the whole Stand United campaign came out of the Pac-12 and other players around the country started to follow suit, what did they go against? They went against signing the waiver and said, we're not going to sign a waiver. You guys are responsible for us. There has to be some kind of common ground between the conferences and the players where, heaven forbid, once again, a college football player dies because of COVID-19. There needs to be some kind of waiver that says that player accepted the responsibility, and you know what? We feel horrible about it, but that's not on our watch. That's not our fault. To me, that's the only way we can go forward, is if there's some kind of, once again, and it could sound messed up. Some listeners out there, I understand what you're hearing right now, and maybe some football players will be against this as well. But if you truly want to play, if you truly want to have this season, you have to accept the consequences. So I say you sign the waiver. I think that if you get sick, obviously medical teams can help you. They have your back, and universities can cover those kind of expenses, because let's be honest, the NFL has done this. The NFL has said that if a player has COVID-19, that's an injury, okay? So if a player has an injury, you cover those costs, just like COVID-19 could be an injury. But I'm saying where if a player, for whatever reason, once again, as morbid as it sounds, loses his life to COVID-19, that does not fall on the university, and you have that waiver signed.
You know, I will say this. That was one of my first thoughts when I read the Trevor Lawrence stuff. Again, I applaud Trevor Lawrence. I applaud all the players for the We Want to Play. I applaud them using their platforms and all of that. And I've said this, and if you followed along the last 24 hours, I don't necessarily agree with everything, and I think it's deeper than just 3 tweets and statement on that everybody used. Again, I applaud it. I think it's fantastic. I think there's a lot of college football that needs to change. I think the power does need to be with the student athlete more than it has been. I've been consistent on a lot of those things for years and years and years. But I did think of what you just said. Okay. We want to play. If I was an administrator, my next question would be, will you sign the waiver? We want to play. Will you sign the waiver? How bad do you want to play? And if you did ask that question, how many would say, I'm in? Or how many would say, wait a minute, we need these rights that we've been telling you about. We need guarantee that we're going to have our scholarship if we opt out, which, by the way, has become a thing anyway. That's going to happen. People are okay with that. But we all want to play football this season, establish universal mandated health and safety procedures and protocols to protect college athletes against COVID-19 among all conferences throughout the NCAA. You can do procedures, but it doesn't mean you're guaranteed to protect anybody from COVID-19. I haven't seen anybody being able to guarantee that yet. Give players the opportunity to opt out, respect their decision. I think people are okay with that. Guarantee eligibility, whether a player chooses to play the season or not, that's kind of in place, essentially. The NCAA came out and said that. Use our voices to establish open communication and trust between players and officials, ultimately create a college football players association. Bingo. That's the one. Circle it. It's down there at the bottom, but circle it because they want an NFL PA. They want a college football, college sports PA. And quite frankly, maybe they should have one. Yeah. That's part of the likeness image stuff. That's part of the underlying theme of this. Where is it in COVID-19? Where is it in we should have more rights as student athletes if you're making those kind of dollars and asking us to kind of be pawns in the game of those kind of dollars. So this is where I get to, finally, could Trevor Lawrence and others. But again, bottom line is right now, Trevor Lawrence is the face of this thing because he's the number 1 pick in next year's draft. He's maybe the best player in college football. And he really has pushed this out that it helped unify everybody, it seems like. Could Trevor Lawrence someday, if some of these things go into place and change, and especially, again, I don't want to go as far as unionization, but the power structure starts to shift toward the player. Could he become one of, if not the most important player in the history of the game?
As of now, yeah. I mean, I think, the road to that could very well go in that direction. And years from now, we could be talking about Trevor Lawrence, on the Mount Rushmore of guys that changed the face of college football. I get that. But to me, there's other people afoot here that even have a bigger influence, that could literally change the whole game as we know it for better, not only for the game of college football, but more importantly for the student athletes. And to me, that's coaches, okay? If Nick Saban comes out and says, listen, guys, we got to get a union here. We got to start paying our players. If Nick Saban comes out and says that, dude, and once again, with all due respect to Trevor Lawrence, because Trevor Lawrence is doing a great thing right now, don't get me wrong. But if Nick Saban, if Dabo Swinney, if these well-known coaches come out and support the cause, that's a paradigm shift. That will forever change the game because now it's not only players, but it's the almighty coaches. We always talk about coaches have way too much power in college football. They make too much money. Well, if they were to use that power and that money for good and support their players, I mean, and take the whole, recruiting edge out of it where all of a sudden players are like, oh, look at this coach come out here down for the cause. I want to go play for him. Whatever. Say what do you want about that? Whatever. But I'm just saying when you got coaches like that come out, support the cause with all their power, that to me is what's going to change the game of college football forever for the years to come.
Isn't it amazing that it already hasn't happened in that respect? The college coaches have so much power, yet they've gone kind of lockstep with ADs, conference commissioners, and definitely presidents. But is this actually again, it would be triggered by the players, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, all the rest. Even, again, I say Joe Burrow jumped in on this today because he's a great example. If he doesn't play last year and this pandemic is last year, Joe Burrow's life is changed. He doesn't get that opportunity to do that at LSU. Think about that.
Yeah.
So he jumps in and supports the players. But then there's a lot of coaches, Ryan Day, Harbaugh, others. I think even I just retweeted a Saban quote where he said, we have around a 2% positive ratio on our team since 4th of July, a lot higher than that in society. So he's supporting we want to play to some degree.
Sure.
It got the coaches to voice their opinion, kind of go against the college presidents. Scott Frost saying, I don't care what the college – well, actually, his president apparently voted to play, but yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, it was Nebraska and Iowa.
Yeah.
No, was it Iowa too?
Iowa,
yeah, it was, yeah.
According to the report from the Dan Patrick Show. And he basically, Scott Frost saying, I don't care if you want to let us play or not, Big Ten, but we're going to go try to find football.
Yeah.
We'll go play in the backyard if we need to.
Sure.
So, but I'm saying it's the players that have kind of jumped on board in the last 24 hours, and now the coaches are piling on. And finally, that vote of support, that not necessarily the support of unionization or more power or pay to play, but supporting that this could be the shift that we see. Mm-hmm. Forget about company line because the university's paying me $8 million, or we got to be in lockstep with the AD or the conference commissioner all across the country. We're not allowed to say the things we really believe in.
Yeah.
No, now we're seeing a shift to potentially say, no, we support our student athletes. Mm-hmm. Like they need more of this stuff. They don't need to just play. They need more. Yep. They need more power. You are using them to create big dollars. They need this as opportunity as well. So we could be seeing it. We don't know. We don't know how it's going to land. I asked the question, could Trevor Lawrence be one of the most critical figures in college football history at the end of this? We don't know when the end of this is. That story might not be told some 4 or 5 years down the line.
Yeah.
And a lot of the ways that college coaches react and what they're starting to react to right now could go a long way in deciding that.
And listen, here's the problem with Trevor Lawrence. He's only going to be around for another maybe year.
Yeah.
Okay. And yes, right now, Trevor Lawrence is a great ambassador. And when he tweets, people are going to listen and people are going to rally around him. Don't get it twisted. I understand that. But Nick Saban, he's not going anywhere. Dabo Swinney, he's not going anywhere. Scott Frost in Nebraska, well, maybe if he gets fired in a couple of years, he might be going somewhere. But I'm saying they're in it for the long haul. Okay. They're going to see players graduate and they're going to come and go. But the coaches are always going to be there. So to me, coaches have built the foundation of college football. They built the foundation of culture, and they built the foundation of these big wig programs that draw in the millions and millions and millions of dollars. So to me, it falls on them to see this whole thing through, to take care of their players, and to try to support them as they see fit.
Yeah, and one last thought on that as you're talking about it is I'm trying to think, like, okay, what do the coaches have? Like, Nick Saban doesn't really have much to lose. He's got his legacy. He's been doing this for a long time. He's made a ton of money. He's got national championships. Now, you bring in Dabo Swinney, he's still got plenty to lose. He's got a lot of earning power still left. He's got legacy still to be built. Mm-hmm. I mean, he'd still be okay if he left the game tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You're right, Scott Frost or Ryan Day, they've still got a lot of earning power, all this stuff. So my point being, because this is where I really think you can't lose sight of the Trevor Lawrence stuff, is he maybe has more to lose than anybody else by playing, yet he's still advocating for playing. That's where I think the power in Lawrence is, because he's the no doubt number one pick, and he could just sit it out till April and work with his QB coach and throw it and hit the weight room and stay healthy and all those things. He's got something to lose. But the coaches do have something to lose. They do have their $8 million to lose. They do have legacy to lose. They lose a bit of ego if they go out on a limb here. So in that sense, with the Justin Fields and some of the big-time players in college football, they do have that as common ground. There is something to lose for the people talking right now, and that's what it takes, in my opinion. It doesn't do much to me. If it was just Nick Saban, I'd be like, well, yeah, but Nick's already made $100 million, and he's got all these national titles. Is it really going on a limb? Fine, he believes in something. Good for him.
Yeah.
But when you really have something to lose and you're still willing to go there and put it out there and say, we want to do this, we could lose our current health because of COVID-19. We're risking that. But I could also lose my long-term earning power and other things.
Yeah.
I think that's where kind of there's some courage involved in that.
So let's rewind the clocks back here probably 3 months now, okay? And let's go back to when the Black Lives Matter initiative first hit the front of college sports, more specifically college football. And what did we do? When a coach didn't, support his players, or when a coach actually went against his players a little bit with the Black Lives Matter movement, we held the candle to him. We called him out. We held up receipts and said, this guy's not doing it right. Let's call this guy out. And we saw coaches get called out. We saw coaches get chastised on social media. We saw teams have meetings because of it. And for the most part, it seems like there was some kind of reconciliation between all those coaches. So we're fine. Then the Stand United thing came out. And then what were we doing? We're looking, what coaches are saying what? What coaches are supporting this? What coaches are speaking out against this? And for the most part, no one really spoke out against it just because, the players, quote unquote, had so much power. Now we're to the point where we have players, obviously, once again, using their platform, using their power for what? To play the game of football, okay? And to me right now, and, Scott Frost has done a great job. Ryan Day, I see you out there, man. Paul Chris, still waiting from you for Wisconsin, man. What do you got to say? Let's go. But my point is, if you're going to speak out now, Brent, this is the time to speak out and support your players. This is the time to get their messages, to try to find some common ground and support them. Because you know why? Regardless what you think about the Black Lives Matter movement, regardless what you think about the Stand United movement right now, this is a movement to play college football or not. This is everybody's livelihood right now. So you better come out and at least get the players' perspective, and you better support them, because if you don't, man, you will be called out. Receipts will be drawn.
Steve Laitman, our buddy from Nashville, just shared this from Tennessee. The Tennessee chancellor met with the team a short time ago. She tweeted, this afternoon, I met with our football team and staff to have an open conversation about playing football this fall. At the end of our discussion, I asked if they wanted to play football, and the answer was a resounding yes. Okay, this is the only thing I say about that.
What do you got?
Of course they want to play football. That's like asking me if I want to go play 18 holes right now. I mean, yes, I do. That's not enough for me. Do you want to play football, and at what cost? At what waiver being signed? At what health being risked? And again, I'm sure some of those things were brought up. This is just a tweet.
Yeah.
But it's just not enough. The we want to play is a great idea. It's a great concept. It's just not enough. You can't stop at we want to play. Of course you want to play. You love the game. You worked your ass off all year to play, to put yourself in this position all your life, to potentially get a shot at the next level, or at least some kind of college football, and earn a scholarship for most of you. Of course you want to play. We get that. At what risk? Yeah. With a waiver, with a this, with a that. There's other follow-up questions that need to go into that. It might not be resounding when you ask those questions.
You're absolutely right. But I do like the fact that there is dialogue with the players.
Absolutely. That's good.
I love when the higher-ups are having dialogue with their employees. What I always say all the time on this show, whether it was the Tom Coughlin ordeal, saying he wants 100% participation, or it's right now, I say the same thing. Once you stop relating to your employees, you've lost them, and then you've lost the business. So I like that news out of Tennessee. I guess, and listen, man, and this is just where I'm at, Brent. And, and this is why I'm super frustrated with what's transpiring right now. I'm super frustrated with the Big Ten. I'm not saying they should play football. I don't want that misconception to be like, well, Austin Lane's saying, well, they should play football. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we need to cover all our bases here, and we need to get on the same page. And here's why. When I was in college, I remember I used to sit in the cold tub at Murray State, and keep in mind it was a trough because we couldn't afford like a real cold tub, so it was like 3 troughs. And I would sit in this trough, and across the wall it said NCAA fair play, and it was like an endorsement for don't do drugs, don't gamble, and it said fair play in giant letters. And I saw that every single day, and I keep on going back to that sign right now as we're talking, where it's like fair play, fair play, fair play. Now, FCS schools probably getting shut down for college football. That's not fair, Brent. All right? The MAC getting shut down, the Ivy League getting shut down, that's not fair to the players, right? Because there's some players, regardless of what university it is, that have a chance to go on and better their lives and play professional ball. And when you shut the programs down like that, that hurts their chances, okay? And I think about how important my senior season was at Murray State to try to get me drafted, to try to make a better living of myself. And I can't imagine going into my senior year, having, in the summertime, having trained my you-know-what off, having worked a 12-hour job every single day in landscaping in the hot sun to try to make a little extra money to support myself. I can't imagine someone telling me, you know what, you can't play this year, sorry. I would be absolutely heartbroken. So my heart goes out to all those guys. But what I'm more concerned of right now is the D1 athletes, the kids at Wisconsin, the kids at Iowa that right now aren't slated to play. And I look at the SEC, and I look at the Big 12, and I look at the ACC, and they're going to play. That's not fair. That's not fair in terms of guys getting drafted. That's not fair of guys trying to further themselves and further their career. It's just not fair. Like, it's not an even playing field anymore, okay? And I get this doesn't really fall in the NCAA because every single conference does their own thing, but we're supposed to preach fair play. We're supposed to preach, just and everything like that. And right now it's not. And this is what's driving me crazy is the fact that if you go through with this and the Big Ten's going to sit out and the Pac-12 is going to sit out and all of a sudden the Big 12 and the SEC and the ACC are still going to play football, that's not fair play anymore. And that's the whole basis of supposedly what the NCAA was built on.
Well said. We'll see where it lands. Of course, those decisions still have to be made for the Big Ten, the Pac-12. It looks like there's a heavy lean that they won't play, but there's some pushback by not only players, coaches as well. There's some meetings scheduled for today, tomorrow, and we continue to watch and see where it lands. As of now, the SEC looks like it's in the go zone to still try to figure this out. The one other thought is you can try this out on campuses for the next couple of weeks before you play football games. The SEC isn't playing until September 26th. That's some 6 weeks away. I don't know if you even need to make a decision right yet on that. A lot to still get into on that front. I've got another question on the college football. I've had a list of questions. We've been getting into a bunch of it. What's so bad with playing in the spring? We're going to get to that in a little bit later. Coming up next, I've got the oddest of comparisons. Young golf stars and NFL quarterbacks.
I can't wait to hear this, man.
Agree or disagree after Colin Morikawa wins the PGA Championship. And, wow, was he awesome on the back nine. Excellent Sunday of golf at the PGA Championship at TPC Harding Park. Leonard Fournette's talking. We'll get an update on what he's saying as well. It's all on the way on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Tracking scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms today, but otherwise partly to mostly sunny and hot with a high of 92. A few isolated late storms then clearing out with temperatures in the mid-70s tonight. On your Tuesday, partly sunny with scattered afternoon showers and storms with a high of 91. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Alyssa Pedgick.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing. Celebrate your love with end-of-summer savings now at Beards Diamonds.
Right now at Beards, take advantage of 5 years, 0 interest financing.
Yes, 5 years, 0 interest financing with 0 down. Take advantage of Beards' already lowest prices in town. But now, spread your payments out over 60 months.
How about a $6,000 Tacori or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month.
Or a pair of diamond studs for $1,500. You pay just $25 a month. It's the best deal of the summer. Get her that piece of jewelry she's been dreaming about and spread your payments out over 60 months. But it's only for a limited time and only at Beards Diamonds.
Beards Diamonds, located at the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Come into Beards Diamonds. See the difference. Save thousands.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right? Making sure you have no holes in your defense. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. And you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G. No contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Oil change coming up? We can help you out.
Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil High Mileage Motor Oil and an STP oil filter for just $27.99. And if you need it fast, we can help you get it fast. Whether it's at home with our next day delivery or in-store and curbside with our free same-day pickup. The choice is yours. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Let's take a minute and talk about your health, your good health. We can't take it for granted, and CGC Water would like to help. It's important to have clean, purified water in your home for your good health. CGC offers no contact sales and service appointments, and they've taken all the necessary precautions while in your home. Kinetico systems from CGC Water remove up to 99% of the contaminants. Now that's taking care of your health. This month, get 50% off a K5 reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. No more filling the landfills with plastic from expensive bottled water. Instead, fill up on cleaner, safer water from CGC Water. We love it at our house. You can have it at your house. Get the peace of mind knowing your family is drinking great tasting, purified, safe water. Kinetico features Premier Softeners, non-electric, twin tanks that are super efficient and use less salt. Financing available with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Kinetico dealer, servicing North Florida and Southeast Georgia.
The current coronavirus outbreak has caused difficulties for many of our area's small businesses. From losing customers to falling behind in payments, business owners need help. At SCORE, our highly trained counselors are here to help. In Jacksonville, SCORE provides services to almost 6,000 individuals annually. We are currently mentoring virtually and identifying possible financial assistance through the SBA and other resources. Visit jacksonville.score.org for links with more information.
These days, more and more women are asking for fancy-shaped diamonds. Ovals, princess cuts, cushion cuts, ashers, marquise, heart-shaped, pear-shaped, emerald cuts. All very popular this year. And no one has more of these special shapes than Diamonds Direct. In fact, we've just increased our selection of these beautiful stones with sizes ranging from a ½ carat up to 10 carats. And while other jewelers will try to tell you these fancy shapes cost more, the fact is, as you'll learn at Diamonds Direct, fancy shaped diamonds should always cost up to 20% less than the same size round diamond. Plus, in many cases, a fancy shaped diamond will have a larger face and appear bigger than a round diamond with the same carat weight. So, with a fancy shaped diamond, you can get a bigger look for a lower price and have a diamond that stands out from the crowd. Come to Diamonds Direct and get the facts about fancy shaped diamonds, see the largest selection, and get the guaranteed best price. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Off Town Center Parkway, just left of the Hyatt.
Hi, I'm Dr. Anita Chandra with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Recent cases of measles in the United States have caused serious illness and have many parents concerned. This virus is incredibly contagious. If your child is not vaccinated, they're likely to get the measles if they're exposed. The good news is the measles vaccine is very safe and effective. Remember, the best way to protect your children, your family, and your community is to be immunized. If you have questions, talk with your pediatrician or visit healthychildren.org.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference, like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's a new modern patient-centered orthopedic practice in Jacksonville.
We believe that the patient pays money for a doctor and should be seen by a doctor.
Ortho Edge.
They're getting the most technologically available medicine there is.
Ortho Edge.
You're going to get a much better experience with your physician. We all see our patients.
Get the answers right away and more focused care on patients.
Find out more about us at orthoedge.com.
Ortho Edge. We're in the DePaul building attached to St. Vincent's Medical Center, Riverside.
Mortgage rates are at historic all-time lows. There's no better time. Duval! Purchase your first home or refinance with Crossview Mortgage. At Crossview, they have a proven track record with VA loans and helping people even when the big banks can't. Get pre-qualified. Do your application by phone in minutes. Let them help you save thousands. Call Crossview Mortgage, 325-9008. That's 325-9008. CrossviewMortgage.com. NMLS number 1377291.
Nurses take extraordinary care of us during what is often the most difficult and trying times in one's life.
We often take for granted the service and sacrifice of these first responders. I'm Mark Anajar from the law offices of Anajar & Levine. If you are a nurse and currently face investigation or complaint under the Florida Nurse Practice Act, you are not alone. Call the law offices of Anajar & Levine at 904-600-4000 for a consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Though no longer little, teens still need a lot of love. Yet teens in foster care have a harder time finding it, as 82% of foster families are home to kids 12 or younger. You can positively impact a teen's life as a foster parent. With help from Family Support Services of North Florida, you provide patience, love, and understanding, and Family Support Services will offer specialized training, resources, and a community of support. Take the next step at foster-now.org. That's foster-now.org.
The supporting cast for the Lakers is amazing.
The Max Kellerman Show.
But the supporting cast for the Clippers, everywhere you look, there's a real player, not just a rotation piece.
August 17th at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and in the TuneIn Radio app.
Would I play? Me, back when I was in college, I probably would have played, because I just love football that much. And then just me just sitting around not doing nothing is just going to be like, man, what the hell? What am I going to do with myself? I'm going to get a job? I don't want to work. I mean, a lot of them kids, they go there to play football. So, but I do understand just the whole health aspect, just because that this disease does affect different people in different ways. It could impact someone's life, like, seriously. It's so up and down, man. But for them to cancel the season, like, I didn't think they would cancel it, but hey, safety first. And football will always be here, but we just got to take care of ourselves first.
That is DJ Hayden, cornerback, nickel quarter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe the most underrated player on the football team, quite frankly. He's been awesome when he's stayed healthy and been in there. Had a sensational season last year. Now he's going to be asked to be like the dad of that secondary.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the old guys back there. They need old guys.
Yes, sir.
He said he thought about opting out. He's got two little ones and then decided to play. So more from DJ Hayden. Leonard Fournette just finished up, had some thoughts, and we'll get into what Leonard Fournette has to say. One of the big stories today, Yannick Ngakoue and his agent parting ways. What does that mean? We don't know. Quite frankly, we had a whole discussion about it earlier in the show, and we'll revisit it toward the end of the show as well. Usually do FSU at 4, and we will, but 4 isn't done for another 12 minutes or so, so I've got time. I want to just get into just a little bit about Leonard Hamilton, because they got another big-time player at FSU, so we'll get into that in a moment. But what I teased is Colin Morikawa wins the PGA Championship. You're not a golf guy. Did you have any fun watching that?
You know what? It was all right, man. It was intriguing because obviously the fact that there were so many guys vying for the leaderboard. So I was like, oh, there's going to be what do you call it, overtime? And that's not overtime. Sudden death.
Well, and what they do actually is an aggregate score, which means it's one of the unique ways they do it. And now they do it at TPC too for the players, but would have played 3 holes, and the overall score from those 3 holes would win.
So it's going to call that sudden death because I can't say the other word you just said. No problem.
Yeah, got it.
Go ahead, sudden death. So with that being said, I was expecting oh, dude, coming down the wire, here we go, sudden death, and all of a sudden, this kid, to say the least, kind of comes and just dominates towards the end. So I was intrigued by that a little bit. I'll be honest with you, Brent. Don't know who this kid is, all right? Don't know where he came from. Don't know his story. Everyone's hyping him up right now. I don't know anything about him. And one other thing, too, is the fact that Brooks Koepka not making a lot of friends right now. All right?
You like that, don't you?
No. I don't. Okay, so you know how I feel about the whole smack-talking thing, right? Golf isn't professional wrestling and golf isn't MMA. So I really don't think people really care if Brooks Koepka's trying to, talk some smack. Was it Dustin Johnson, DJ? Is that who it was he was talking? Yeah. So Dustin Johnson.
And they're actually buddies.
Well, yeah. And regardless if they're friends or not, when I heard that the last hour, I was like, dude, I don't care. Why are we even talking about this? Brooks Koepka, what are you doing? Dustin Johnson's a pretty dang good golfer. Has more wins than you do. So why are you trying to hype him up right now? To me, it didn't make any sense. He should have listened to the show last year when we did the Brooks Koepka rebranding episode. He must not have listened to it. And to be fair, Brooks Koepka, man, you have the look, in my opinion. You don't have the personality. You have some of the accolades. Just be quiet and go golf and win.
Yeah, he's almost a little too arrogant. Got caught up with it and then didn't play well. And so, I'm mixed bag on Koepka. I'm not in love with the guy. Some of that bravado is needed, to be honest with you, in golf. Some of that back and forth, some of the DeChambeau stuff. I don't necessarily embrace it and love it, but I think also it's needed. You need conflict. Everybody can't just get along on the whole tour.
Yeah.
You need some of that stuff. So it's okay. But also, I think when you say that stuff, you usually got to back it up. Now, it wasn't necessarily wrong about DJ. DJ finished in second, didn't win, but he was awful. Koepka was on Sunday, and that's just golf. That happens. But here's my thought, okay? First of all, Morikawa was on two of the most clutch shots you'll see. This guy is an up-and-comer. People who follow golf know this kid's talented, really talented. I found it interesting. I said he didn't flinch down the stretch and hit two big shots, and my curiosity was, I wonder if just even the lack of buzz and fans there made it a little more easygoing. And I actually went back and watched Paul Casey speak on Saturday, and he said something similar. He said, hopefully, he's like, I've been nervous in those spots before. Hopefully the lack of fans will kind of calm me down on the Sunday, because he's a big advocate that he misses the fans. Yeah. But he said on this Sunday in contention, and by the way, Casey finished in second. So I don't think I'm out of my mind in saying that the fans would heighten it, amp it up, get you juiced up where you'd have to relax. And while he might be unflappable, he is human. And all players, especially in those big spots, sometimes they're so young they don't really, it doesn't bother them. And we've seen that in recent years. But sooner or later, golf makes you think a little bit, and any little doubt or any little distraction raises the stakes. That was my point. Some people are like, oh, he's unflappable. He doesn't get nervous. He doesn't get nervous. Okay, great.
Ice water in his veins.
Yeah. Well, so whatever on that front. But he hit two great shots. Yeah. Especially. Two unbelievable, two epic shots, really, that will go down in the history of golf on that back nine, especially if he goes on to have an unbelievable career. But the thought that I had is he's 23 years old, and here we go again with another young guy. We've had the Ricky Fowlers and Rory McIlroys and Jordan Spieths, and we have all these conversations about who's going to be the next. Justin Thomas, by the way, in there. You can keep throwing the names in. The names are lengthy. You can go all the way back to the Adam Scott days when he started to take the tour by storm. Jason Day gets a little older. DJ, Brooks Koepka, those guys aren't necessarily 22, 23 when they're winning, but they might be 27, 28. So there's this, who's going to replace Tiger and Phil and all this stuff has always been the conversation. Bam, 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 bam. We keep getting these young guys. And the tour is full of young guys. And this guy, by the way, has been pegged as a next superstar kind of guy. No doubt. So here we go again, and we'll see. Now, Spieth hasn't won in 3 years. McIlroy hasn't won a major, I think, since like 14. Yeah. These guys have had their struggles, too, and they haven't been able to just continue the dominance Tiger Woods had for such a long time. But it got me thinking, it's like, is golf a sport where we see this cycle and revolving door of superstar more than any other sport? Look, man, we've now gone from Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson in the late 90s. We're on year 20-something of kind of always having a star. Maybe a couple years when Tiger got hurt, like 09 and 10. It's like, okay, where is that next guy? Then Rory comes along and, boom, starts winning at 22, 23 years old. This is a sport that continuously seems, we're going on a 2 generations worth almost of star players.
See, and now obviously I'm coming from a different area here because I'm a casual golf fan, set aside from you who are obviously super passionate and follow it, with a microscope here. When you say the word star, though, to me, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods not in the same category. Not even close. Tiger Woods obviously is the guy. Ricky Fowler, star potential, but to me, and Ricky Fowler, to me, a lot had to do with, obviously being sponsored by Puma, wearing the crazy outfits. I think he kind of connected a little bit with a younger audience. Now that younger audience is growing up and they still follow him.
Yeah.
Very cool.
He'd be a bigger star, by the way, if he could win a major. He hasn't.
And this is my point. This isn't the UFC. This isn't boxing. You don't, winning is everything here. Okay, it's not like NASCAR. We have to be like this kind of this name, but you also have to have that attitude and get the good press conferences because, look at Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson won how many championships, and nobody really cared about Jimmy Johnson, okay? This is golf. If you win, you will become a star. If you keep on winning over and over and over again, defying the odds, well, then you become a superstar. And, like, I think of golf right now, and I get it. It was Jordan Spieth going on his run for a little while, right? And Rory McIlroy, this kid. And once again, Rory McIlroy had more because, to me, he's from a place where, golf was technically invented, you could say, or close to it. And he's got the accent. He's very likable, nice guy. But, like, how much has he won lately? Like, to me, this next kid, and it's Morikawa, right?
Yep.
Morikawa will become a star, and he'll become a household name. You just have to win. You just have to keep on winning, and then people are going to know who you are. And that's the beauty with golf.
Yeah, it is. And so here's my tie-in, okay?
Yeah.
My thought is, I'm relating them to NFL quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
My point being is, we have said for the last decade, really for the decade, okay, Rory's the next Tiger. Mm-hmm. Justin Thomas, the next Tiger. Mm-hmm. Ricky's the next Tiger. Mm-hmm. Brooks Koepka now we're comparing to Tiger. Spieth, next Tiger. Now Morikawa, next Tiger. Whatever. And by the way, the next Tiger thing is old. And I don't even know if people are saying that as much because Tiger's still going and being somewhat competitive. But we have these guys to say, bam, this cycle of new players is tremendous. Well, the only sport I could think of is the quarterback position in the NFL right now. You have the Bradys. You had the Mannings. Heck, before that, you had Favre. And now you have Aaron Rodgers at a certain level. But now look at this young wave. Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. You got Russell Wilson somewhere in between. Mm-hmm. It's the only sport I can think of that didn't go through this huge gap of finding it. The NBA has a ton of stars now.
Correct.
But they had a huge gap.
It was.
In between getting them. And like Kobe was holding that over.
Sure.
But there was a good 8 to 10 year gap between Jordan and I think even the superstardom of Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
This seems like a revolving door in golf right now. And I would say it seems like a revolving door in the NFL. And by the way, we're going to talk a little bit later in the week, or maybe even if we get to it today. There's a ton of young stars right now in Major League Baseball. Mm-hmm. The question we always ask is, are they transcendent enough?
Yeah.
And I guess we're going to get to that question. Is Zion the answer? Greek Freak looks like the answer. Are there enough of them to replace the latest star, which is LeBron?
My question to you, Brent, when we come back from the break here is, what golfer in the PGA is going to be in a rap song next because he transcends that household audience? That's going to be my question for you when we come back. No, because, listen, I'm not even joking. Tiger Woods did it. Tiger Woods is in every single rap song for a while. What golfer can be the next guy to transcend?
It might be Colin Morikawa. I got a thought on FSU hoops. I guess it's going to be FSU at 5 today. That will happen next on ESPN 690.
You've been waiting for a new ride, right? Just waiting for the right sale. Well, the time has come because every quality pre-owned car, truck, SUV, and van has been marked way down for you to drive it home today when you buy from Arlington Toyota. You got to check out Arlington with over 750 new and quality pre-owned on the lot every day, just waiting for you to drive home. Domestics, luxury vehicles, imports, and Toyota certified pre-owned. It's all priced low and ready to go at Arlington Toyota. If you're worried about your credit, well, don't be, because with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And when it comes to total peace of mind, Arlington's got you covered with their 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. So what are you waiting for? All pre-owned is on sale now at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
Come to the grand opening of Q Delicia, the best Mexican-American sports bar in town. Enjoy ice-cold beer, $10 sangria pitchers, along with the best quesadillas and fajitas in town while watching the game. If you can't go, at least you can watch. But don't be surprised if you hear, "Goal!" You can watch football, NFL, NBA, MLB, boxing, UFC, and more on multiple HD TVs. Visit Q Delicia for the grand opening on 3980 Southside Boulevard today. Q Delicia, the Mexican-American sports bar you never knew you needed. Call 904-253-3477.
Work at home. Work out at home. Second period math at home. Date night at home. Lately, we're doing a lot more at home, which means we're doing a lot less driving. With pay-per-mile car insurance from Allstate, you get the same reliable coverage you'd expect, but only pay for the miles you drive. Drive less, save more with Allstate. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote.
Price based on driving behaviors and includes a daily rate subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and its affiliates.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best networks, same as big carriers, but for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G for up to 50% less than the big carriers. No contract. Full court coverage, 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence. Or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit, guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
I'm Thea Jeffers, owner of Breezy Jazz Club and T-Works Interior Decorating. It doesn't matter where you come from, it's possible to own your own business. But starting a business isn't easy. The Jacksonville Women's Business Center helped give me the confidence to keep going when the going got tough. At JWBC, I got the training, networking, and support I needed to help me reach my goals. To find out more about how JWBC can help you, visit jaxwbc.com.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community, and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Slip and falls can be embarrassing, leaving you in pain and feeling like you've lost control. I'm Eli Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. After a fall, document the scene by taking photographs and make sure to get medical attention for any injuries you may have. If you've been injured in a slip and fall accident, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
I'm Christine Lisi at this hour. According to ESPN, the Pac-12 CEO group will meet tomorrow and is expected to discuss and vote on how to proceed with the 2020 football season. Growing sense around the conference is that it's highly unlikely the Pac-12 moves forward with a fall season amid the pandemic. The Power 5 conferences discussing whether to cancel or postpone the season. If there is no football season, one group of players in particular will be affected, says ESPN Radio's Bart Scott.
The kids that were ready to make that huge jump, that next step. These are still young players, right? These are still young players, and a year makes a big difference. they really already didn't really have a traditional spring camp. They didn't have traditional training camps, and they're not going to have a traditional season.
Baseball Mets pitcher Marcus Stroman opting out of the season because of the pandemic. The NHL announced no positive test in its latest COVID-19 testing. It has had 0 positive tests inside hub cities. NBA, Milwaukee's Giannis Antetokounmpo out tonight against Toronto after surgery to repair a tooth.
Brought to you by Cooper Tires. Go with great tires that do what tires should do and cost what tires should cost. Go with the Coopers.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Hey, what's up? It's Austin Lane of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. If you didn't catch today's episode, I'm not mad at you, not even disappointed, but check out what you missed. If you only make a baseball game 7 innings, dude, you take away a lot of the history.
It's always been the problem, is preserving the record book. The numbers mean something. But you know what? The guy that has the all-time home run record took steroids, everybody thinks.
Check out our podcast on all platforms. Just search ESPN 690. Subscribe to our podcast. Thanks.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I was kind of on a world tour, wherever the corona was at, I ran away from it. I was in Orlando at first. It got there. I went back to Baton Rouge. Then it came to Baton Rouge, and I went to Dallas. And after that, I just stood my ass home, worked out at home, because it was just following me everywhere I went.
That is Leonard Fournette. Is that how the locals say? I lived in Louisiana. Baton Rouge?
Can you bring that back one time? Baton Rouge.
I mean, I lived in Alexandria a couple hours down the road.
Baton Rouge.
From it, I was in Orlando at first. It got there. I went back to Baton Rouge. Then it came to Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
I did not realize.
Went back to Baton Rouge. Then it came to Baton Rouge. And
I like that.
That's good.
Or from Wisconsin, Baton Rouge. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, really. Yeah, Rouge. Now, listen, they got a couple of different languages in Louisiana. Oh, yeah.
Raging Cajun.
Yeah.
Eddie-O.
Mississippi and Louisiana, because, we had some Mississippi guys on our college football team. We had some Louisiana guys. And with all due respect to my former teammates, man, like you said, they have their own language. Like, they were saying words, and I'm from Wisconsin, man. Heaven help me. I was like, I'll be honest with you, man, I don't know what you're saying right now.
It's like when you're at the bar and your friends try to talk to you, but it's too loud, and you ask them what a few times, and then you're like, just give up and go, yeah.
I was like, sure, yeah, totally.
That is Leonard Fournette, by the way, meeting with the media just in the last hour, and so always had something fun. That was about coronavirus, basically, but I sat home after a while because it was following me around.
Yeah.
It felt like it. So Leonard Fournette, complimentary about the offense of Jay Gruden, which is a good sign because we think it's going away from Leonard Fournette a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think that's really good that he's not sitting there being, you don't really like this.
Yeah.
But still see some positive ways he can impact it and influence, if we're correct, that it's not going to just run through Leonard. Yeah. Because even Fournette said today, he's like, it gets everybody involved, and I like that. So that's a good sign because Leonard, I believe, whether you think so or not, and how good his career's been and where he was drafted, I'll continuously say he's a vital part of their offense being halfway decent.
Yeah, without a doubt. And obviously, it's a big year for Leonard Fournette. Now, maybe not necessarily a big year for his future here in Jacksonville, but it's a big year for him getting a new contract with another team. So, yeah, you better be on board with this new offense, man, and you better be optimistic because obviously if you have success this year, well, then back up that Brinks trip. You got a new contract coming your way.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about the depth of the Jags on the defensive front here in a little bit as well. And I got to ask the question about college football in the spring. Why does everybody scoff at that? Is it such a bad thing? That's coming up. But we usually try to do FSU at 4 here for your home of the Noles, the Seminoles in Jacksonville, right here on ESPN 690 for football, we hope, and basketball coming up. And, when we announced the deal a couple weeks ago with Florida State coming over to ESPN 690, We mentioned the basketball program, said don't sleep on it. It's been one of the best programs in the ACC. I think over the last 3 years, they have the best home record in the country over there in Tallahassee. And Leonard Hamilton continues to get it done. A story needs to be done on Leonard Hamilton, like a deep dive of where did it change? I'm telling you, 4 years ago, we're sitting here and we're saying on shows like this, I can't believe they haven't fired him yet. Like, why is he still there? He's almost 70 years old. They need a change. And great man, nice man, graduates as players, but they're not going to win big enough. And wow, these last few years have been off the charts good, and the recruiting is the best in the country. Yep. We're talking about Leonard Hamilton, Florida State in Tallahassee, out recruiting Kentucky, Kansas, Duke.
Might have heard of him.
North Carolina.
Go on.
Name it. Name your schools. And Florida State is out recruiting them. Hey, listen, there's something left to be done. It's to win big, national championship kind of big, but they continue to put it together. And so the big news over the weekend is Jalen Worley out of Pennsylvania. He's a guard, likely play point guard, 5-star, committed to Florida State. They have 4 of the top 65 players in the country going to Florida State. He picked the Noles over Michigan, Virginia, Memphis, Miami, and Oregon. I mean, it is unbelievable what he's done. I mean, that's it. There's really not much more to the story. It's worth the acknowledgement that what Leonard Hamilton and Florida State have done in basketball, I mean, it's one of the most incredible stories. They have to top it off with big-time success to become one of the great stories in college hoops in recent memory.
So here's the cool thing to me about Hamilton's team this up-and-coming season, number one, but number two, for the future of the Florida State Seminoles. There's some college coaches out there that are fantastic recruiters, okay, that can get the top guys in the country. But maybe when it comes down to winning tournament games and when it comes down to winning conference championships, they're just okay coaches, you know. And I don't want to throw John Calipari in that mix because I think John Calipari is a pretty good coach. But let's be honest, he's a lot better recruiter than he is coach. All right, obviously the first round picks say that in Kentucky, and the lack of national championships say that. No, not to say he's not a great coach, but once again, he hasn't won a lot of championships. What I like about Hamilton is the same thing I like a lot about great NFL coaches out there, Brent. When I always talk about what makes a great NFL coach, it's the fact that he looks at who he has on his team and he adapts either his offense or his defense to that. Now, listen, I come from Wisconsin, and I played with so the former Wisconsin coach, Bo Ryan. His son coached us. We ran this offense called the swing. The swing offense has been ingrained in Wisconsin basketball for the past 25 years. It's the most boringest thing you're ever going to see. Super fundamental, but that's what they do. Coaches have this ego about them where it's like, I'm going to recruit these kids, these 5-star prospects, these number one guys in the country. They're going to come play for me, but they're going to play my way. I get this sense where Hamilton's kind of having his, rejuvenance here, his kind of run at glory, is the fact that he understands that regardless of who he has on the team, he's going to adjust that offense, make him play defense, first of all, obviously, but he's going to adjust the offense to what he has at his disposal. And in doing that, guess what? That makes it fun to play in. And when you're fun to play in, you know what you get, Brent? You get recruits. And to me, that's what Hamilton's done more than anything right now, is change up his coaching style a little bit and had the ability to adapt.
Well, they hardly ever have guys who get in trouble. They stay out of the papers and the news and all that stuff. They graduate. He's I don't know. Leonard Hamilton seems like a great man. Obviously, a very good coach, classy guy. And it's an amazing story. Now they got to go win big. And this group says, hey, we're going to go win a national championship. We'll see if they can do it. But they might have the talent to do it. One thing that Leonard Hamilton does differently, too, is he's played a lot of guys, a lot of coaches. Pretty much by the time you get to conference season in January, like, hey, I'm sticking to my rotation, 7, 8 guys, maybe 8, usually a max. Sometimes you'll leak into a 9th player here or there. His teams have gone in these last few years anywhere 10 to 12 deep. Not afraid to do that. And everybody's like, well, when are you going to shrink it? When are you going to shrink it? Doesn't.
Don't have to.
Lets everybody play. So that's another thing that probably guys like. You know you're going to play. You're not going to be one of these star players on the outside looking in if you don't perform well in a couple of games or practices, but you're probably going to be in a rotation.
Well, of course, and obviously when you do that, you're going to be fresher, right? And when it comes down to the fourth quarter, I mean, and your legs are giving out, either you're going to be fresh or you're going to be, whew, I'm winning, take me out. And if guys are fresh, obviously they make more plays, they have more energy, simple as that. I am curious to see this year, though. So obviously with this recruiting class coming in now, does he change up that demeanor a little bit? Does he change up that scheme and obviously rely more on that big recruiting class coming in? Or is it kind of business as usual now for Leonard Hamilton?
Yeah, we'll see if it is. Listen, we got so much going on. We talk so much football. I don't mean to be a show killer and talk college hoops here in middle of August with college football being such a big story. But I think it's worth the acknowledgement of what Florida State's doing. And it's been unbelievable. And, again, you can listen to Florida State Hoops, shameless plug, right here on ESPN 690. All season long. We won't even think about basketball season and what's going to happen just yet in that kind of context. I'm going to get to the Jags in a moment, but I want to get the big story of the day is college football. And we talked a bunch about it. I had a myriad of questions throughout the show from Trevor Lawrence and how well-known he will be, his legacy in all of this, to coaches and Ryan Day and Harbaugh, and what's the difference between the coaches and the presidents and the ADs and the commissioners, to are we even going to play football? Is it more of a COVID-19 pandemic scare, or are NCAA presidents across the board scared of the power play by players right now? There's a lot going on with this college football story as we await further news on what could happen. Certainly looks like the reports, if they're true, Pac-12, Big Ten could be in trouble. It sounds like the ACC, Big 12, SEC kind of sticking together right now, and much momentum for the SEC to say, hey, we're playing on. So we'll see what happens with all that. There's one other thought on this, at least one other question I have, and there's probably 10 more, but there's one other question I want to talk about. The thought of playing in the spring seems to make people turn their nose up.
Hey, Brent.
Like that.
There go my nostrils.
It doesn't do that for me. I don't mind. Now, listen, I'm a guy from Rhode Island. I'm not part of the good old boy network that has watched college football since they were 2 on Saturdays, and waved Gator colors or Knowles or Alabama or whatever. So I guess in some people's world, I would be considered an outsider. But I also, and I told you this earlier, if we didn't have a season, listen, I want college football. I love college football. I'm just telling you, I wasn't born and raised on college football the way folks down here were in some parts of the country, whether it's Ohio State, Michigan, and others.
Yeah.
I was raised with, like, the Red Sox and stuff, and I love baseball, and I'm a huge baseball guy. And if they hadn't played this year, I'd been like, that stinks. But I'll see you next year. So my point is, if they don't play in the fall and they want to play in the spring, my view is, I'll see you in the spring. And if you can't play with Trevor Lawrence and you can't play with Justin Fields, because the smart move is to say, I'm going to the draft and I'm not going to risk it this close. I want to be ready for my team when I get picked number 1 overall, 2 overall in the fall for the NFL. I'm all right with that. Listen, this has been a rough year. Things that are not the same. Everybody's had to adjust. If I don't get college football at its supreme level because of those kind of decisions, and I expect that, and we're already going to see some of that with some of the opt-outs that we've had in college football. Well, you know what? That's part of it. It's weird. It's strange. It's different. Get it. I am just not that opposed to spring football, while I feel like everybody else is, mostly because, well, that's not how it's been. It's almost like moving Christmas Day. And by the way, I get that. I get the feeling of that. I get the angst involved in that. I'm just telling you, for me, if they move it to the spring because that's the smartest thing to do, but we still get it, well, that's better than eliminating it.
Is it better than eliminating it? Maybe. But here's my issue with it. And here's the outcry, and here's the optics that you're going to have if you plan on essentially having 2 college football seasons in the realm of 10 months. Number one, you're going to have players that are like, oh, excuse me? You want me to play 2 seasons of college football in 10 months, less than a year? And you want me to do this for what, a scholarship? No. You're going to pay me now. Like, to me, if I'm a college athlete and I have to play 2 seasons in 10 months, guess what? I'm going on Twitter. I'm using my voice. I'm calling my boy Trevor Lawrence. Trevor, here's what I want you to say. All right, put this out. We will not play 2 seasons, let's just say, in 10 months unless we get paid for that. Because now it goes to show you just how important football players are. Now, you should already know this, obviously, with the self-awareness and everything. But you mean to tell me that you're going to have 2 seasons in 10 months? Oh, no, I'm getting paid for that. So that's number 1. Number 2, student athlete. The student, quote unquote, is supposed to come first. Now, does it all the time? Probably not. But with that being said, though, when you talk about your class schedule, right? And this is, I'm talking to 80% of the student athletes out there, and the other 20% are just geniuses and good for you. You had the 30 ACT score. Props to you for doing that. But I'm talking to your standard run-of-the-mill student athlete, where you require to have your spring classes be a little harder, obviously, because the last thing you want is the turmoil of having a hard class schedule mixed with the season. Because the season's, it's long, Brent. It's played out. It's a lot of practicing. It's a lot of prepping and everything. So you essentially make your schedules, when you set your classes, you make it easier during the season and then a little harder during the off season. Well, essentially, if you have 2 in seasons now, well, now your classes are going to be harder. Now your whole schedule is going to be rearranged. Now we're talking about, well, are we setting our student athletes up to succeed or fail? I would argue fail. So to me, you have a problem from the student standpoint as well. So you put it in the mix. You have a problem, I think, from the money standpoint, and you have a problem from the student standpoint. To me, that's just too many problems.
There are a lot of challenges with it, no doubt. But again, I'm trying to tell you, there's been a lot of challenges in 2020. That's what I would chalk it up to.
It's not normal.
It hasn't been normal. And I do think, and I've said this all along, I feel like I've been pretty consistent with this, that I believe whatever change, this goes all the way back to like March and April when we were discussing, we didn't know baseball would actually start up and college football would try to go in the NFL and where we're at. And I said, I think now we could be seeing a calendar that gets shifted essentially for the next 2 years, like into 2022. So now we're talking the next really 18 months. And so from your standpoint of, 2 seasons so close together, I think they would have to figure that out. I think they would have to figure out a calendar, whether it's even truncating the season a bit. Maybe it's 8 games instead of 10, so you don't play as long. But also pushing the other one back, not your typical August and September. It's going to have those kind of ramifications. But is it worth playing the season? Well, in my estimation, from a dollar standpoint, it would be. From a football fan standpoint, it would be. And then the players have to decide if it is worth it for them, especially the ones that look like NFL kind of prospects. I think it's important to keep in mind, when we talk about the NFL, the vast majority of players aren't going to the NFL. The vast majority of players are playing college football, and that's it. I know we talk about the guys that are going to the NFL, the breeding ground, the Trevor Lawrences, the Justin Fields, the rest. I get it. It's a big part of it, but it's not the only part of it. And it's really not the vast majority part of it. And that's why I said earlier in the show, you can talk about the NFL all you want, but I would push that down the priority list right now as I'm thinking about college football if I'm in a leadership standpoint. I'm thinking about a lot of other things before I get to the NFL calendar and how we're going to deal with that. We'll figure it out. And if that means players opt out, the Trevor Lawrence's, Justin Fields, well, that's up to them. And I might even advise them to do that, quite frankly. But at least we're still rescuing the season for, again, our vast majority of players. I don't think this is going to be the most quality football season if we were to see it in spring. No way. But I think right now you'd almost take just about any kind of semblance of a football season. Now, here's what I think about the calendar. Tell me I'm crazy, but I heard this a couple of times over the last couple of days. Under the collective bargaining agreement, they can move the draft all the way to June 2nd. So if the NFL did want to play ball with college, you don't have to have the draft in late April. You could have it in later May and early June. I think June 2nd is the cutoff on that. And who knows, they could even make another change if necessary. Like I said before, I think they could move the 2021 season back a little bit, slide the calendar to create more space. And then I have this other thought. You know me, even before the pandemic, I've said this for years and years, I really wonder the value, the necessity of, for college kids, spring football.
Yeah.
And for NFL folks, OTAs and other things. I wonder the necessity of it. I get it, but I wonder, and again, we're going to find out in the NFL how valuable it really is potentially this year because they didn't have it.
We are.
So this would essentially take the place in some respects of the spring football. It would be a different grind, no doubt. It'd be a different intensity.
It would be more of a grind.
No doubt. It'd be big time. The intensity totally different as well. But let's not fool anybody here. We understand that college football is essentially a 10-month out of the year proposition to begin with.
No, it is, Brent, but there's ebbs and flows. There's a time where you ramp up during the season, and then there's the off season where you kind of ramp down a little bit.
And then I thought about this part of it. So, again, I don't know. It's not normal to play 8 to 10 games in the spring. I get it. But it is normal to play football of some kind in the spring. Just my point on that.
Sure.
And then this part from the NFL standpoint. Would it almost be better on an evaluation level to take kids playing college football over those couple of months in the spring, actual games and tapes and everything else, and watch them play there than it is to go through the countless number of interviews, the visits, the combine, the pro days, the thing that, again, I say a lot, there is so much on these guys' plates in January, February, March, April that they never stop anyway. If you are a rookie in the NFL, you don't stop, and nobody's crying for you. Nobody's sitting there saying, but oh my gosh, there wouldn't be a break. You don't stop. In fact, you don't stop since July of your previous year. So, for instance, Joe Burrow, well, this is not a good year to do it. Let's take Minshew. Minshew, let's just say he got a little vacay in Brandon, Mississippi in July of 2018. He went to Washington State, and by the way, he's probably already on campus in July. August, September, October, November, December, bowl game. Maybe a tiny break, but I got to work out. Go down to Naples, find my agent, do all this stuff, interviews, combine, Senior Bowl, pro day, visits. It does not stop. They get a little bit of a break in late June into July for a few weeks, and then they hit their first season. So is it really that different if you were to play in the spring?
Let me ask you this, though, Brent. Let's go back to when we were at TPC, all right? And let's go back when we're getting ready for March Madness, all right? And let's go back to that spring. And now let's fast forward to where we are right now in August and what we've learned right now about COVID-19 and what's transpired since then. Do you think that if the NCAA was to cancel the fall season, wait a couple more months, and wait for the spring, would we really learn anything, though, about COVID-19? And would the landscape of COVID-19 and how we feel about it change at all?
Well, here's the deal. To answer that question, I think, let me know if I don't answer it, but I think this one I'm going to do my best to answer it. If you take us back to March and April when this all started, my mind, probably in a naive kind of way, but my mind was like, all right, we're done with sports until July 1st.
Sure.
And I was like, let's hope this thing is in a good spot by July 1st, and then we move on. I'm not worried about football. We're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Well, ever since probably middle of July and now for the last month, I said this to Steph, my wife, just this weekend. I don't see an end for this maybe through all of 2021.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't. The best case scenario potentially when you have that is you got to hope for some kind of vaccine or help, assistance from a medical standpoint right now. Is maybe the best, unless you just shut everything down, which maybe we should have done and not opened up as early as we did. That's fair if you want to say that. But either shut it down or now your fingers are crossed for a vaccine of some kind. It is the only way to resolve this, in my view. That might not be the science view. That might not even be the right view. I already told you a couple of times I'm not very smart. But in my view, I'm like, this is here. You're dealing with it. And so what are we learning from a college football season in the fall that we couldn't learn potentially, or at least delay enough to the spring where maybe something is found and we feel better about it?
But see, then I'm putting the devil's advocate here. Why would you rearrange the NFL schedule? Why would you try to put more on college football players' plates? Why would you try to, essentially just change the entire landscape of college football, something that's been, never been done before? Why would you do that if you're not confident the landscape in a couple months after the fall to the spring is going to be the exact same?
My simple answer is this. We're sitting here in August of 2020. You don't have to change a damn thing right now.
Yeah.
It's the same thing I just said about the SEC. SEC's not playing until September 26th. I'm going to try to give this thing a go. I've got 6 weeks. Now, I might decide in 3 weeks that it's impossible. We're not going to do it. But I don't have to change the NFL calendar until December at the earliest.
Yeah, but Brent, we got to be on the same page here, though, right? Like, we can't wait till the last second to be like, all right, by the way, no college football this year.
Yeah, you have to have conversations.
I mean, to be fair, that the Big Ten's about to face some scrutiny if they do cancel their conference to say, well, what the heck? You guys announced the schedule last week, now we're canceling it? Like, so... Yeah, kind of worry about the optics, too, as well here.
Well, I think you do. This is right now, this thing has been an optical illusion, quite frankly.
I like that.
And I'm not saying you wait until the last second to go through plans and scenarios. But your worst-case scenario is, hey, guys, we can't move the NFL calendar. So if you want to play the NFL, you got to opt out and miss your season.
Yeah.
If we can slide the NFL calendar, are you interested in it? But I don't think those things have to be concretely made until – later in the calendar year. They don't need to be made right now. And so, again, this isn't me advocating for the spring. I just think I run into so many people, or I hear so many people just turn their nose up and be like, well, can't do it. Like, well, I think you can. I actually think you can. Yeah, I think if that's the best course of action to save a season, and again, maybe not have the Trevor Lawrence's Justin Fields play, but have the vast majority of student athletes on scholarship play, or even not on scholarship, well, that might be the best move.
Well, and listen, and I'm not worried about it from the tradition standpoint of like, well, no, I want my football to happen in the fall where it belongs. Like, I'm not like that at all. If it happens in the spring, so be it. I'll still tune in and watch, and I won't bat an eye because of it. What I'm concerned about is what I stressed in the beginning, where when you ask your student athletes to play 2 seasons in 10 months, there's going to be repercussions. There's going to be an outcry, and there's going to be, I think, some, pushback, especially on social media and things like that. And if you're the NCAA, if you're a student, if you're a school president, the last thing you haven't been really a fan of right now, let's be honest, the past couple weeks, is the fact that players are kind of rallying together right now, trying to get a union started, trying to get that cash and everything. And if you're a president, if you're the NCAA, you're sweating behind those bright lights right now. You're like, all right, these guys got to calm down. Well, if you choose to have this in the spring, you're only going to escalate that problem even further, in my opinion, and you're only going to rally the student athletes, especially college football players, around it, and then you're going to have more problems, and you're going to feel more pressure and sweat even more than you are right now.
Yeah, it's a great conversation, but it is an option to have for college football. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've hardly talked about the Jags. College football has been a big topic today, and rightfully so. Yeah. But let's talk a little bit about the Jags, because I'm concerned about their depth on the front. We're going to get to go to practice later this week for the first time. Like, I feel like now football's starting in Jacksonville. Now football's starting in the NFL, and that's just selfish nature because we get to go. Other markets have been able to go. They opened the doors earlier than the Jags did, which is whatever. But we get to go, so it kind of feels like, okay, they're on track. And there hasn't been anything alarming coming out of the NFL, which is an awfully good sign. Sure, that COVID-19 list still exists, but nothing alarming to the degree that's coming out of college football. But this is alarming for the Jags on the field. A lot of linemen. The depth is hurting right now. Plus, the latest on Yannick Ngakoue. If you missed it earlier in the show, it's next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Scattered storms developing into this evening with some strong storms and heavy downpours in spots. Temperatures dropping into the low to mid 70s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing. You've been waiting for a new ride, right? Just waiting for the right sale. Well, the time has come because every quality pre-owned car, truck, SUV, and van has been marked way down for you to drive it home today when you buy from Arlington Toyota. You got to check out Arlington with over 750 new and quality pre-owned on the lot every day, just waiting for you to drive home. Domestics, luxury vehicles, imports, and Toyota certified pre-owned. It's all priced low and ready to go at Arlington Toyota. If you're worried about your credit, well, don't be. Because with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon scores from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And when it comes to total peace of mind, Arlington's got you covered with their 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. So what are you waiting for? All pre-owned is on sale now at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hey, does your car still only play CDs? No Bluetooth? No CarPlay? You got an old car, my friend. You know what's better than an old car? A less old car. Get a car or truck that's new to you with a great used car loan from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Get pre-approved for a loan and shop at any dealership in town. Get a low rate and get rid of that old car today. Apply online at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
I look at it every single day, and I'm in awe.
That's Tracy talking about her amazing diamond ring from Diamonds Direct.
Better than anything I could ever imagine. Just fantastic. The biggest compliment is everybody says I've never seen anything like it.
And the shopping experience at Diamonds Direct?
Very laid back. Not one time did we feel like we were being pressured. Not one time did we feel like we were being asked to extend a budget we did not have. In fact, it was almost the opposite. Like, we completely respect the budget that you guys have. Let us see if we can make something work.
And how about the free service for life at Diamonds Direct?
I come back about once a month, and I have them clean it, redip it so it's all shiny and new, and they will clean it every day if I walked in here every day. They're fantastic.
These days, Tracy walks around with Diamonds Direct business cards in her purse.
I hand them to strangers. When people say, where did you get that? I go, here, this is where I got it. And they always go, oh, I hear the ads, but I've never been in there. I'm like, go in.
Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
There's nothing like this anywhere else that I've seen.
Get directions, store hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Off Town Center Parkway.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and programming during these critical times, make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474. That's 1-800-333-3474 and demand that they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
July is National Carpet Cleaning Month. Get all the carpets in your home cleaned by Zero Res for 25% off the regular price. With Zero Res, there are zero soaps, zero detergents, and zero residue. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com.
Spay or neuter your pet. Help them live a longer, happy life. First Coast No More Homeless Pets has free and low-cost programs available now. Make your appointment today. Call 425-0005, 425-0005, or fcnmhp.org.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
If you have a specific medical problem, you call a specialist. Broken leg? Call an orthopedist. Cataracts? Call an ophthalmologist. At Prime Men's Medical Center, our doctors specialize in ED and PE. Listen to Dr. Rubinski, a renowned expert in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinski. If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications to help you last longer in the bedroom, regardless of age or past medical history, with no pain or surgery. In fact, you'll see results in the office guaranteed or your exam is free. Patients are now lasting for 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And best of all, treatments are affordable.
Men, if Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, call Prime Men's Medical Center for a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians. Call 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
This is Pastor Abraham Lincoln Washington, and it's time for the truth. I just want to let y'all know that we're going to make it through this pandemic. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, but I don't believe he brought us this far to leave us. It's going to be all right. This has been Pastor Abraham Lincoln Washington, and the truth will make you free.
Hi, I'm Hunt Hawkins, CEO of Steinmart and chair of the 2020 First Coast Heart Walk. The 2020 Heart Walk is going virtual, and while we might not be able to meet in person, we still need you to support the American Heart Association's mission of being a force for a world of longer, healthier lives. Register and start a fundraising team today at firstcoastheartwalk.org, and then make plans to join us on Saturday, September 12th to Heart Walk where you are. Let's make a difference in the fight against heart disease and stroke. Register today at firstcoastheartwalk.org.
Locally sponsored by Steinmart, Florida Blue, and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
What's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax. Your smart speaker brings ESPN 690 into your home office. All you got to do is say Amazon Echo, Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy that succulent sports coverage.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick & Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane. Give the guys a call. Grab your cell phone and call *690. This is ESPN 690.
Yeah, I killed him one practice. You know what I mean? I killed him on a real route. Ask him. He'll tell you. When y'all interview him, ask him what happened on that real route. I ran past him. He said, woo. What I like about him, though, he's quiet. You know what I mean? Like, you have different leaders who show us through actions, you know, whatever, but he's quiet. He plays his role. He's very athletic. I can say that. He's a sideline to sideline guy, and he's very smart, too, you know, so he's definitely a guy, you know, I'm on the lookout for this upcoming season.
That is Jaguars running back Leonard Fournette entering a contract season here in 2020, a big year for him. Still a critical part of the Jags offense. And he was talking about Joe Schobert. He got the better of him on a wheel route, it sounded like, which was fun. I always love when players kind of are wowed or surprised by other players. And listen, you got to separate now. And sometimes I've been good at separating this, and sometimes I haven't. But you got to separate what is normal teammate speak and what is a little bit more enthusiastic than the norm. And so I kind of like what Fournette said about Schobert and the athleticism and the side to side and sideline to sideline. Mm-hmm. And you match that with Miles Jack, and you show there's going to be some speed and athleticism now at that linebacker spot that few have in the NFL. I mean, I don't know how they're going to play. I don't know if they can tackle. I don't know if they can get their assignments. But they are going to have some athleticism at the linebacker spot that, again, few probably in the NFL have with a couple of those guys.
Very true. And keep in mind, too, you're going to have a lot of athleticism, a lot of money tied up in that spot as well. So hopefully, obviously, when you spend that much money, you want to see it paying dividends. And you have Miles Jack now playing, which I think is his more natural spot. You have a Joe Schobert who's coming in now, who's kind of like that field general, can get guys lined up. The linebacking core is definitely an intriguing spot this season.
No doubt. I think the other thing about that, players applauding players. Yeah. I saw DJ Hayden said, Trey Herndon's going to play in the league for a long time. There are a lot of folks that are like, Trey Herndon, yeah, all right, whatever. The numbers might have been that, and he might have done fine. But We don't believe in Trey Herndon.
Mm-hmm.
I would think it's kind of lukewarm on that. So I like hearing a guy like DJ Hayden. He didn't say, oh, this kid's unbelievable. You got to see. I mean, he's even better than he was last year. He didn't say he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. No. I thought it was a real honest take to say, this guy's a solid player now. He's going to be in this league for a long time playing the corner position. You know what? Right now, that's good enough for me. Mm-hmm. I don't need him to say he's the next Jalen Ramsey. Mm-hmm. You're going to leave that for C.J. Henderson.
For sure.
But a solid play over there on a question mark on defense?
Yeah.
I don't mind that. So I kind of like a couple of the things coming out of Jags headquarters today.
Well, listen, there's that, and there's also the fact that when you talk about like a Trey Herndon, for instance, right? He's going to last a long time in the league. Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've seen glimpses of brilliance on the field, but also that's a testament to what he brings off the field, I think, right? Like he gets the game. He's a true professional, all right? He's not a distraction, and I think that's also a compliment in itself as well.
Well, we like some of that stuff.
We love some of that stuff.
Don't like the concern on the defense, and that is up front.
Yeah.
Remember, the run game was atrocious last year. It was the number one goal of Todd Wash, the front office, Doug Marrone, is to shore up the run in some capacity.
And Brent, how do you win in the NFL if you're me?
Stop the run.
Thank you very much.
So they get the linebacker play. They think they're going to get lined up better.
Stopping the run. I like it.
They obviously lose Calais Campbell, one of the best run defenders and, quite frankly, defenders in the league the last 3 years.
Not stopping the run now. Don't like it.
No. They have Josh Allen.
Stopping the run.
They add Chase on.
Yeah.
They don't have Marcel Darius, who obviously was a big part of it. They still have Avery Jones. They bring in Rodney Gunter.
Mm-hmm.
They bring in Al Woods. They're hoping Taven Bryan finally comes to life.
Yep.
They have Dontavius Russell still. Who am I missing? Well, now they don't have all those guys. It's getting really the moral of the story.
Yeah.
Al Woods opts out.
Yeah.
Dontavius Russell, I think it was a hip injury, lands him on right now the not playing list, the injured list. Rodney Gunter is on like the non-football illness list.
I'm so confused with all these lists and
There's
everything.
There's a lot
of
lists.
Yeah.
And we didn't get much clarification today.
Okay, good.
On Gunter.
Because I'm out here in the dark just thinking like, okay, he's on what list now?
But Gunter's an $18 million guy, $11 million guaranteed. He's a big part of what they need to do, hope to do.
Listen, I've said on this show before, in terms of defensive lineman, the most important defensive lineman going forward, in my opinion, is Gunter. So there you go.
And by the way, we're still some month away from the season. In fact, the month away from today is, I think, the actual starting time for Houston and Kansas City.
Yeah.
The 10th. But how concerned are you right now if you're Todd Wash and Doug Marrone on this defense that also has Yannick Ngakoue changing agents, but not on the football field or on the football team?
Yeah.
Quite frankly, right now. How much of a concern? Here's what you got, by the way.
Yeah,
Taven Bryan, Avery Jones, Josh Allen, Cassius Marsh, DeJuan Smoot, who also is getting rave reviews from his teammates. Devon Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then they add some other guys in the back end. But
listen,
they're thin.
Let me tell you something right now that every Jaguars fan should hear this and go, well, duh. The Jaguars' run defense last year was not good, okay? The Jaguars' defensive line and stopping the run last year was not good. Wasn't satisfactory, was downright terrible, sometimes embarrassing. Back-to-back 200 yards rushing. I'm not sure what those conversations in that locker room were. I'm not sure what those conversations, those meetings were. But if I'm part of that defensive line and I have to go watch that footage, man, that'd probably be the most dreadful 3 weeks of my year right there, is watching that film and watching just running backs run over us and over us and over us. You lose Calais Campbell. You've essentially lost Marcel Darius, obviously, because he got hurt and you didn't re-sign him. So now you fill in the holes with Gunter. Well, he's, for whatever reason, he's not practicing right now. Now, he could be back tomorrow. He could be back in a couple weeks. But right now, where it stands, he's not practicing. You have a lot of faith, and you've heard coaches praise him a lot, in Taven Bryan. Now, Taven Bryan, to me, and once again, taken first round. So everyone's got that first round grade on Taven Bryan. All right, and everyone's going to say, well, he's a bust of a first rounder. Right now, probably due to his production. Yeah, I would agree with you, absolutely. But then people want to say, well, he's like Tyson Alualu. Well, no, he's not. All right, because Tyson Alualu is still playing in this league. All right, Tyson Alualu is going on, his 8th, 9th, 10th year? There's a reason. because he's a damn good player, okay? And he's in Pittsburgh, one of the best defensive lines in the league. No, he's not starting for them, but he's a contributor, man, okay? So that says who Tyson Alualu is. Taven Bryan, to me right now, he's still improving, okay? He's shown glimpses here or there. He's shown a great get-off. He showed intensity. But the biggest question with Taven Bryan going forward right now is the mental game where it needs to be. Can he be in the right spot? Can he use his hands properly? Can he not get washed down? And you know what? When we talk about Taven Bryan going forward, what was a big problem last year for the Jaguars? Not getting lined up properly. The mental mistakes. Well, Taven Bryan right now, where it's looking on paper, is probably going to be your starting 3 technique or your starting big defensive end. So he's going to play. So you have to depend on Taven Bryan. That's obviously a red flag right now. And then the other guys, Avery Joe, like the whole Al Woods thing. Yeah, Al Woods would be great to have. Experience, a big space eater that can kind of take up the 2 gaps. But I think you have Avery Jones who can do a great job doing that. All right, because you don't ask Al Woods to go out there and get you 10 sacks a season. No, all you ask Al Woods to do is go out there and take on double teams. Well, he's gone now. Avery Jones is taking that spot, and I think Avery Jones is more than adequate of doing that job. So Avery Jones can stop the double teams. I'm not worried about the nose technique right now, but it comes down to the 3 technique. And this is why I said Gunter was the most important position, in my opinion, on the defensive line. No, I'm not saying that Josh Allen is the most talented defensive lineman on that team, because he probably is. But I'm saying for this whole thing to work, whether it's going to be a 3-4 defense or a 4-3 defense, the same defense from last year or the same defense from last year with a couple wrinkles, if you don't have a 3 technique that offenses respect, I promise you it's going to come crumbling down. I don't care how much money you're paying your linebackers. I don't care how good Joe Schobert is of getting people lined up, and I don't care how fast Miles Jack is from east to west. If you don't have that 3 technique to make everything work, you're going to get dominated. And you're going to get dominated in a division that is going to run the football.
True, very true. And that should be of utmost concern.
So, yeah, I'm worried, Brent.
Yeah, it's good. The good thing is you got a month till the season to lose some of that worry. But it should be a worrisome thing right now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Worth noting. I don't know, panicking, but worrying is certainly okay to do for the Jaguars up front. One other Jags note, if you just joined us here on the show on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, happy Monday, by the way. Hope you had a good weekend. College football, the huge story. But also today we talked about Yannick Ngakoue, the news Tom Pelissero shared, and can confirm that Jan has split with his agent. So if you're a Jags fan, do you see that as good news? In a sense, and with all due respect to the parties, do you see this as an opening to get Jan back on the field? Because listen, everybody can say all they want about Jan. They're tired of Jan. They're tired of the cryptic tweets, all this stuff, but they want him on the field. Yeah. If 91 ends up on the field, I don't care what anybody says, that's a win. And getting him on the field would be a good thing. And I think it's a win for him, too, because he's earned $17.8 million in his bank account, so go put it in there. But if I'm a Jags fan now, am I thinking, oh, okay, renewed hope maybe that Jan ends up playing on the grass at the bank for the Jags?
To be fair, if you're a Jaguars fan right now, you have a better sense of that maybe Jan is going to come back with getting a new agent. Now, you know how I feel about it. I think Jan's going to be locked in and stick to his beliefs. But once again, and this is kind of what I said in the beginning of the show today, if you're an agent, your primary job is not to be a friend to your clients. Like, yeah, that's part of it. But your primary job is to get money. It's to get paid. It's for yourself to get paid and for your client to get paid. Jerry Maguire, show me the money, okay? Simple as that. So if I'm an agent coming in Yannick Ngakoue right now, and I analyze the situation, and I ask him, all right, so what went wrong here? Yeah, I get all the... And then I see that you have an opportunity to make around $18 million for a franchise tag. Well, if I'm that agent, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell you to sign it. Now, it falls on Yannick Ngakoue at the end of the day to sign it or not, or stay true to his guns. But once again, I don't think any agent in the right mind would be, you know what, man, just go ahead and sit this out because it's going to benefit you in the long run. To me right now, Yannick Ngakoue does not have that luxury. This isn't a Le'Veon Bell situation. It's not even a Melvin Gordon situation. The market has shown itself, okay? Now, yeah, Bosa got paid, obviously. And who's the other cat who's got paid? defensive end?
Garrett.
Garrett, thank you very much. Garrett just got paid. Monumental deals. Good for defensive ends. Good to be an edge rusher right now. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, those are tier 1 guys, okay? Those are the tiers, the highest of the high, let's just say. And then below them, you have your Clownies, you have your Yannick Ngakwe's. And for whatever reason right now, and those, let's call them tier 2 guys, the market just isn't there for them, okay? Nobody wants to pull the trigger on those guys. I don't have the answer for you. I'm not sure why. It is what it is. So with that being said, once again, it comes down to the agent to present that information to Yannick Ngakoue and try to figure out some kind of situation where you both benefit from it. Whether that's going to happen or not, I have no idea, because at the end of the day, it's still the player's choice. The player has the final say. But I'm just saying, from an agent's perspective, I'm obviously trying to get as much money as possible.
Yeah, I would think so. That's part of it. By the way, Jan he has to sit out basically 5 days on the agent front, and then he can announce a new agent. But it's a 5-day window once that happens, which is interesting. I didn't even realize that, but we're learning about it with Yannick Ngakoue. So that's the latest on the Jags. Talked a lot of college football today. A couple other quick thoughts. This in from Jeff Passan. Did you see the Oakland A's fight against Houston?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Houston is doing the beanballing now. They hit
I saw
Oakland
that,
5 times.
Yeah.
Houston didn't even get hit. The A's have won 9 in a row.
Yeah.
I told you the Astros may backslide a little bit. 6-8.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who didn't have the Astros? Actually, who had the A's winning the division?
You did.
But
I had the A's not make. I had the Astros not even making the playoffs.
I had the Astros in the wild card, I think, if I remember correctly.
This in from Passan. Ramon Laureano to ESPN on Astros hitting coach Alex Cintron, who he got in the argument with and then charge the dugout, which is always a bad idea, by the way. Don't charge the opponent's dugout, especially amidst coronavirus, but at any time.
Yeah.
And he said, I regret charging him because he's a loser. A suspension is understandable, but I hope it's not that many games.
How old are we? Well, and by the way, was there one punch thrown? I mean, there was like some shoving and stuff. Like, listen, man, if you're in a bar, if you're in a social setting and you charge a group of people and you leave out of there without even throwing a punch, suspend him 25 games. All right? Because that's what you get. That's what you get when you charge somebody. You don't do anything about it. Like, come on, man. What are we doing here, baseball players?
That's what happens.
Come on, baseball players.
All right, to end the show here, this
Yes.
is for you, Kuz, so listen up for the first time today. I don't know if you guys knew this, but over the weekend, I found Larry Bird.
What?
And you might not have known this, but Luka Doncic is good.
Hey. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and replay the footage back, I think, on Thursday, where I said, if one thing happens in the NBA bubble, we're going to leave the bubble knowing that Luka Doncic is the future of the NBA. Was I wrong? Was I wrong?
It's the first time I've first time I've sat down and watched him play.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen him play, but
Don't put him on Larry Bird status either.
No.
Way too much way too much swag against Larry Bird.
Oh,
he has way too much. He has so much swag compared to Larry Bird.
We should be suspended. He's 21 years old.
So
he could
much
be
swag.
on his way. He's stronger than Larry Bird.
So much that he's stronger than Larry Bird. Yep.
You don't think Larry has swag?
No.
You think you can wear Converse with those shorts and
those
not have swag?
James
No one's wearing
Harden
them
fans
now.
are so upset because he does like 2 or 3 between the leg passes a game, and nobody talks about it, where Luka did it once and everyone was freaking out.
It's unbelievable. He was sensational the other night. That was a lot of fun to watch. Greek Freak and Luka could end up on the same team in like another year.
And I'm out. And I'm done.
We'll see you on TV
Maybe
tonight.
I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see.
CBS
That
47.
BS comment right there.
And Fox 30. I'll see you on TV. Thanks for hanging with us on ESPN 690.
Keyshawn Johnson.
Most players, street smart and educated, are going to always have a problem with a slickster. And I called him a slickster. Yes, I did.
Jay Williams.
It's an organization. It goes both ways, man. It ain't just like one.